What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come vent with us. Let's go. Let's go. This ain't the fuck like oh, this game he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Folks, Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What up, man? Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights on Thursday and every Wednesday that we usually come to you live. We are brought to you by BetUS, and BetUS is a leading online sports book. It's been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link. It's pinned right in our comment section over on YouTube and in our description on Facebook. And if you use that link, you get 125% sign up bonus. So make sure you go use the link. No Nate Moss tonight. It is his birthday, so happy birthday to Nate. No Noah Eaton, Frank Vesky, Greg Mwakovic, Ralph Del Vecchio, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, come vent with us. Come get it off your chest. Ben Simmons, Philly return. I mean, how's it a return when you don't play? So it's not even a return, but we'll touch on it. We'll touch on the Bumblebee. Sixers Nets post-game reaction to what we witnessed tonight. It's been fun. This has really been fun. This is typical that we would have to do a show after this. Like, oh yeah, let's do it on after the game. That'll be perfect. Perfect. Aging extremely well for us, which is typical. Typical. Ties into our poll question brought to you by Manscaped. Please trim your balls. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right B-ball, Paul. Get off the court. Don't be fucking flexing. Always use the right tools for a job. 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D. All right, you get from the weed whacker, the lawnmower, the ball deodorant, the body wash that you need to clean yourself up from tonight. All right, watching this, getting a nice cold shower and just let the water run on you and use the Manscaped body wash, okay? And get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D. Our poll question for tonight is for the overreactors. Sixers fans should be concerned about tonight's performance against the Nets. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't. Stay with us for a while. All right? Stay with us. It's still a season left to go here. This isn't how we were eliminated from the playoffs tonight. Mm-hmm. All right? I disagree. I just do. It's not because I'm like a homer about it. I just disagree. It's an NBA game. All right, you're talking about a team that came out and they were on fire in the Nets. And part of that was our defense, and part of it was our effort per se tonight. But, they came in through the first punch after the trade. And that's how I look at it. It's not the ending punch. All right, we didn't get knocked over. Season's not over. So you can take it two ways. You can be concerned. You can be concerned over a team that shot close to 60% from the field and 50% from three and say, oh, we're not good enough. We're not good enough. All right. A team like ourselves, through majority of this game, shot 25% from the field. Do we believe that's going to happen all the time? Do we? No, it's going to be more evened out. Okay. It's going to be more evened out. That's just the facts of the matter. All right. It's an ugly, ugly loss. All right. It's disgusting. Okay. It really is. But what are you going to do? You're going to be concerned about the one game, right? I mean, we got to look at it. We got to look at it in the full grand scheme of things here, right? It's one basketball game. That's embarrassing, right? That's a tough freaking loss, tough to swallow when we wanted to stick it to the bumblebee on the court, all right? But it's one. It's one. And you can go off of it and say we're in a lot of trouble, right? We're not good enough. I've watched this team play since the trade, and they've looked pretty good. They look pretty good together, right? They had a really off night tonight. And if you're going to pick a night to have an off night, this shouldn't have been the night, right? This can't be the night, but it was, all right? Because when one of your stars is 3 for 17 from the field, you're not going to win. You're not going to win games like this. Tyrese Maxey non-existent tonight, all right? The biggest pulse was probably Tobias. So what's that going to tell you? All right, I mean, that's not good. Joe went to the line a ton, got Drummond in foul trouble early, all right? But we couldn't listen, they came in, guns firing, their hair was on fire, all right, and we weren't able to withstand that. And sometimes you got to withstand that blow and stay in it. We weren't able to. We didn't make enough shots. We played a little bit too much one-on-one basketball tonight, in my opinion, from watching this game. But we can learn from it, and we can get better from it too. You have two ways to look at it. You can quit on it, or you can take the blow, right, and use it as motivation moving forward. I mean, I'm not out on this basketball team. I still have finals aspirations. One game doesn't end what I believe that they could do. It just doesn't. It really doesn't. And if it does for you, and you're out on this team, or you think they're not good enough, or you're concerned over it, then fine. Be concerned. Be concerned. That's your prerogative, or your decision tonight. Whatever you want to do. I'm not going to talk people out of jumping off cliffs. Right? You want to jump off and call it a season, then be my guest. But if you want to stick around, because I know all you people that are concerned after tonight weren't concerned over those 5 wins, because I know it, because I've heard from you, I've seen you. So you either didn't think it was good enough to begin with, and this proves it to you in some fashion.
You spent $3,000. Holy shit! Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, that's on. I mean, this isn't Game 7 of the NBA Finals. So, I mean, I'm not spending $3,000 to go watch the Bumblebee sit there. I mean, you want to spend $3,000 because it's a rival? Sure, but it's a regular season game.
Yeah,
it has no impact on what's going to happen moving forward. It literally has zero impact. Besides that, hey, they can use this motivation in this locker room to not allow something like this to happen again to them. Right? And realize that, oh, you know what? Just because everything looked great 5 games playing together, we still need a little bit more, because you have to play together. You have to be able to get some chemistry together too. That's important as well. But we got KD came in and didn't miss, and Kyrie didn't miss. So their stars didn't miss tonight. And that's just where you're at. And if I'm a Nets fan, sure, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling ecstatic after this. But Quentin, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Like, now we're in trouble. Now, we're in trouble. God damn it! If James Harden's cast an issue and he can't play anymore, that's how the fuck we're in trouble. Everybody out there, we're in trouble over a regular season goddamn game. I'll end the goddamn broadcast. All right? This means nothing. This means nothing. Talk to me if this was a playoff game, then I'm freaking out about it. Am I happy about this loss? Absolutely not. All right, I feel like somebody shot my goddamn dog. And this guy's allowed to come in this arena where he couldn't play in, wasn't mentally fit to play in, and can sit there looking like a fucking bumblebee, all right? And that's a slap in the face even more to everything that's happened here. It's a disgrace. A disgrace. And the basketball guy should get shot in the head, all right? Somebody should execute a basketball guy, because this should never happen, all right? Regular season or not. And we're okay with that. That's the disturbing part of this. And maybe as players, right, they were too wrapped up in everything else going on outside of it. We've got a basketball game to play tonight.
It felt like that early, didn't it, though?
Yeah.
Like it felt like that they bought into the hype around it early on, right? That goes away.
Caught up in the emotion.
That goes away. But yeah, I mean,
I disagree. I'm not concerned. I'm not going to freak out over one game. So if people want to be concerned, you want to be concerned about slow starts, that's a different story. But being concerned over this game, time's yours.
Greg, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go, and I agree. I mean, this is the only game I've watched so far, right?
Yeah,
so I mean,
stop agreeing. No. Maybe you should stop agreeing then. Like you're not allowed to agree. Like you're
then fine, I'll go. You know
well,
what
I don't understand why you even have an opinion on it. Because how are you going to agree to play the devil's advocate game? And
I'm not playing devil's advocate.
Well,
this is exactly the reason why I hate James.
You have no
Harden.
eyeball.
This is big game James showing up. This is big game James. This is a big game. Okay. I don't need him to beat the Timberwolves and the Knicks.
Okay.
And the Cavs and the Bulls. I don't need that.
The Cavs and Bulls don't mean anything, right? Because they're not
in the regular season. Not a regular season.
Oh, but this one does.
Is the season over? No. Is the season over? No.
But this one does.
This is a playoff game in mentally.
Is it? Oh, no, riddle me out.
A playoff game.
Riddle me that. How's this a playoff game?
There's a mental playoff game. This is a practice run. And Big Game James came up exactly how Big Game James comes up.
The guy who hasn't watched them play here has an opinion on it.
So we can overreact to the 5-1 with James Harden beating the Knicks twice, the Timberwolves.
You didn't watch.
We can say, oh, they look great, but then they lose full cast. They lose and get blown out. I'm with you. You don't get blown out. You just lose the game tonight. Completely different story, right?
Well, no, it isn't. You didn't watch the other games.
So what's the difference? You beat the Knicks and the Timberwolves.
What's the? What do you mean?
They beat the Bucks without Joel.
Greg,
with Joel.
Hey, bud, it's a sample size. 5-1 since them. So you're just those games don't matter then. But
no, they do. But I don't need James. I didn't trade for James Harden to beat those teams. I traded for James Harden to beat the Nets. And to beat the Knicks. Or to beat the Bucks.
Yeah, you did
and to beat the Heat. I'm not counting the Heat game.
Yeah, I traded for James Harden to beat the 9th seed. That's why I traded for James Harden to beat.
They're a lot better than the 9th seed.
That's where they are, Greg. That's where they are.
I know that's where they are, but they're a lot better than that.
I'm not saying they're not better than that, but that's where they are.
You're absolutely right. That's where they are. But we're going to see them in the first
round
of the playoffs. You traded
for one regular season game. That's what you traded for. That's what you just told me. One regular season game is the most outlandish comment in the history of sports talk. You traded for James Harden for one.
I traded for games like this, big games in the regular season like this, where you need to make a statement.
Okay, so Bulls, Cavs, not statement wins.
No, Joel's 11-0 against the Bulls in his career. They didn't need James for that. Come on, Joel's a monster. I'm not taking anything away from that guy. That guy's an absolute monster. But this is who James Harden is.
Nobody said this isn't a big game to the idiots out there that want to tell me it's a big game. Okay, it's a regular season game.
I agree.
It's not.
I agree, but you got waxed at home.
It's not a good look. But don't tell me
you compete and you lose a game. Hey, it happens, right? You're absolutely right at that point. Regular season game, it happens, right? You're rested, you're at home, you're fully ready to go, and you get waxed. That's not good.
Okay. So my point is, you were concerned prior to it. So
no, I'm absolutely still concerned.
Okay, because you didn't watch any other games. Have a sample size to be able to say, okay, this is.
What am I going to gain about watching them beat the Knicks or the Timberwolves?
I don't understand. Like you keep going back.
Those teams stink.
This is Knicks and Timberwolves.
Well, Timberwolves don't stink.
Timberwolves are a borderline playoff team in the West. So I mean, okay, I'm just saying it's a road game that they won.
Okay, I'm not it's great, but everybody, and I'm not saying you yourself, but everybody was like, oh, this is the greatest thing. James Harden is so great, and then all of a sudden, big game comes up, and where's he at?
Okay. So, I mean, whatever. I mean, like I said, you guys can overreact to one game. Now, James Harden can't play. All right.
I always thought he couldn't play.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that out loud. I wouldn't say that out loud.
I've said it out loud multiple times.
I'm trying to save you from saying it again.
I don't care.
I know that. I understand that.
Now we're lucky we beat teams. I mean, this is the kind of chat people that are coming in chats. I mean, this is funny. This is going to be a funny night. This is fun. Bunch of fucking Celtics fans and people who don't watch the games telling everybody what they should be concerned about. Everybody, please continue.
It's fine, guys. We got the Phillies. Baseball's back. You know what I'm saying? Jason Kelsey. It's good. You know what I'm saying? It's good. It all the good things, we got it out of the way earlier because apparently the season's over, right? It's the most Philadelphia thing of all time. And it's funny, Tom, you and I talked about it on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, whenever we did the show. Like, it would be the most Philly thing in the world for us to be amping this up, justifiably so, nationally televised, for all the wrong reasons, really, because it was all about a guy who wasn't playing. Of course we lay an egg. Of course Harden struggles. He's the villain. Of course, big game James. Of course he doesn't show up. Of course Joe tries too hard and he's begging for fouls, all that. Simmons is smirking with a smug face in the Bumblebee outfit. Of course. It's the most Philly thing in the entire world. All that happiness is going away. The 2 weeks of games, the 5-0 with Harden and Embiid playing together, none of it matters anymore. It's Harden's first game. I don't know what people want me to say. Like, I feel like, and I saw it in the chat, I saw it all throughout the day. If we say we're not concerned, we're homers. If we say we are concerned, oh my God, the sky is falling. Like, it's one freaking game. We laid an egg. The Nets came out like it was Game 7 in the NBA Finals. We came out like it was a freaking Thursday in March. That's the way it is. Kyrie, Irving, and KD were who they are. And it just so happened, of course, because Philadelphia, 2 of our 3 biggest stars really struggled and they were non-existent. And Embiid didn't have that great of a night. That's what happens. Like, Maxey might as well not have played. Harden was more of a negative than a positive. You don't have anybody to pick you up from that, especially when you have guys like Kyrie, KD, Curry was looking good. You got Nicholas Claxton looking like the greatest player ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one freaking game. And like Andrew says, and I appreciate you, Andrew, super chat, it's one freaking game. If they go on a 5-game losing streak and you hear, rumblings, oh, the team is fractured after the loss, yeah, come call me. Call me about me being concerned.
Well, let me say this real quick, okay? When we beat the Nets here, all right, we beat the Nets here, right? You remember to wave goodbye and things like that? So you think they didn't come in with an agenda? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, that's why you look at it as like an ebb and flow type of thing. Now, you should never get your doors blown off, but at the end of the day, they came in ready to go tonight. So now the next time you see them, right, they might come out a little flat because they feel like, oh, it's just, hey, we can walk on the court and beat you. If you overreact to that, then be my guest.
They came in with desperation and urgency.
Isn't that intensity though? Isn't that concerning to you at all?
Intensity.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's not like we're coming off a back-to-back, right? I mean, we all know back-to-backs in the NBA. They're brutal, right? We're not coming off of that, right? And you're right. I mean, Joel and KD, they had that moment in the first, like, when Joel went at him, and that's, I loved it, right? Like, inject that into my veins. But, like, you have to match that if you want to get to where you need to get to.
I'll be concerned if the playoffs were a 1-game series. It's a 7-game series.
I agree with that. And I'm not saying the season's over, but I'm definitely concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, how many times have we seen, not in Sixers playoff history, but playoff history, there's teams that'll lay eggs. There's teams that'll get blown the hell out, and then it's all about the response. Like, I'm not trying to come in here, because, again, nobody enjoyed watching this. So, like, it's not about, like, oh, just move on and delete it from our brains. No, you better friggin' learn from it, and we never want to see it again. Like, I don't want to see this ever again. But at the end of the day, I really, and this is just the way it is, everybody from the Celtics fans in the comments to everybody, the Nets fans, anybody in the national media, they were salivating at the chance to do this. So, of course, the negativity and the overreaction is going to be extremely loud. And of course, for the next couple of days, it's going to be, oh, well, this is the true Sixers. Okay, listen, nobody has a crystal ball. Maybe it is. I don't think it is, okay? I don't. I don't value one game in a friggin' March that's, a month and a half away from the playoffs. I'm not gonna overreact. I'm sorry. I'm not going to. It sucked. I didn't enjoy it for 2 seconds. I hate Simmons somehow even more now by watching him. But no, like, come back to me in a couple weeks. If we were on a 7-game losing streak, then okay, I'll panic and I'll start talking Phillies.
It's how you go from it.
Yeah,
as a basketball team in any sport, like, teams get embarrassed. There's been championship teams that have gotten embarrassed in the regular season. And James, we did mention Maxey. I mean, he didn't show up tonight. All right, he wasn't aggressive tonight. But at the end of the day, like, we were getting almost our doors blown off from Jump Street. We never had a lead in this basketball game, so it's not an excuse. But to say, oh, they didn't look like they didn't look energized, or stuff like that. Hey, maybe that's true. Maybe it's true. Okay, but I looked at more as like, hey, we really didn't run an offense tonight. It was more one-on-one. It was more things that you sort of don't want to happen. A lot of standing around, and this is what happens. And this team took it to you. All right, and you can learn from it because honestly, the 5 games prior to this, with Harden, we did move around. We did move without the ball. We did the things like so. If you look at those 5 games and then the 6 is a sample size, you're saying, man, this is still a really damn good basketball team. And if you want to be out on them, then be out on them. But we sat back and trolled a guy coming in this week, and as a fan base, we made this game bigger than it was. So now our overreactions are going to be bigger than they need to be. That's the end of the conversation. We can literally end the show right now, essentially, on that. Because we took this game to a game 7. I talked to a buddy at work today, and I said, man, I'm walking around like it's game 7. It's a regular season game. Like, tickets are going like they're game 7s. Like everything's going like it's game 7. So we overhyped this basketball game for a guy who's not even playing. A guy looked like a bumblebee tonight. And now what we did to our players is we put more pressure on a game that didn't need that pressure. So now they're worrying about, James is worried about taking it to the Nets. KD's worried about taking it to Joel, right? Kyrie's worried about taking it there. Everybody's worried about taking it to people, but our take it to came to a guy who wasn't playing. So to say our energy was a little off makes sense on why their energy would be locked in.
Yeah, they look distracted. They were worried about a guy who was a non-entity.
We did as a fan base. We distracted it. We took their eyes off of what needed to be done, and that's not our fault. All right. I mean, they're players, they're pros. They should lock in. But it's also human nature. And it's also human nature to talk about this guy who's not playing all week, which then becomes a distraction. This is why we need to trade him. Now it's over. Now he's been here. We've done it. We're past it. I'd much rather this happen now than see this team for the first time in the playoffs, right? So
I agree there, yeah, absolutely.
So
get the bad loss out of the way now.
Yeah, it's not okay. It's never okay to get embarrassed. It's never okay. But let's not treat this game like it was game 7 in the finals and our season is now over.
Let me just read this real quick before you go, Ralphie and Frank, and then I'll shut up. Because this is important. Again, it's all about the response. The next 6 games after this, right? You've got at the Magic, home against the Nuggets, at the Cavs, home against the Mavericks, home against the Raptors, home against the Heat. Can we just see how we do against those teams? Unless we want to create the narrative that some of those teams don't matter. Because some of those teams freaking matter. Can we see how we
stretch? That's a good stretch of games.
If we go 1-5, come back to me. Hell, if we go 2-4, come back to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a stretch. If we had a stretch of Magic, Pistons, OKC, Lakers, we do see the Lakers, but I didn't count them because they suck. Then I would be like, it's kind of a wishy-washy schedule. But let's see how we look in the next 6 games before we friggin' panic and we talk about how we lost the trade.
Can't lose a trade when a guy's not playing.
I agree.
Guys, go ahead.
For the poll, for me, I'm going to go disagree. I just think in the sense that how everything happened tonight really just magnified everything, right? I mean, if you guys were in the game and you guys lost by maybe like a buzzer beater or lost by 2 or 3, I don't think everybody is having the reaction that we're having right now. But it's just the way that everything did transpire tonight, and the Nets couldn't miss and shot 60%, and you guys, I think at one point in the fourth quarter was 29. I think it was like 29% from the field, which is very, very rare or very uncommon in the NBA.
Yeah, not great.
So what'd you say?
Not great.
No, not great at all.
No.
But I just think everything that happened tonight, just getting blown out at home and, all the hype with this and stuff like that. I think it gets a lot of people wondering and worrying about what's going to happen in the future and stuff like that. But I think it's just one game, and I just think everything that has happened, leading up to this game really hyped everything up, and then obviously you got blown out at home, which also isn't good. So yeah. I think everything at the end of the day, everything is going to be fine. I still think this is a preview of the Eastern Conference Finals, no matter what happens, or it depends on where the Nets are. Maybe you guys see them in the second round, but I think it's just a preview for a playoff game, and I loved it as a basketball fan. I thought it was just watching everything inspired before, pre-game and stuff like that. But I think people need to relax a little bit, but it is what it is. I get the overreaction. but I'll go disagree.
Frank?
I also disagree to the poll. I think, some of the reactions I've seen in this chat are a little bit overreacting. And, it's one bad game. I mean, it happens to everybody. Like, of course, two of our supposed big three had very cold nights. And, you're not going to have perfect games game in and game out. It's nothing to worry about. It's a bad loss. I get it. There's no need to panic. If this was a playoff series, if we face the Nets again in a potential playoff series, and that's every single game, then there's time to have some concern. But right now, I'm not concerned one bit. I'm just ready for the next one. I'm ready for the playoffs. I want James Harden to be healthy, and I want our team to be successful going into this playoff push.
Yeah, I mean, they shot 45% from three. So we're saying that's happening nightly. If you believe that's happening nightly, I got a fucking beachfront in Idaho for you.
Exactly.
60% overall.
Yeah, but I mean, but let's not act like KD can't do that on a nightly basis, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, as a team, I give you, but KD is that guy though.
He's not hitting 18 threes himself. So they were 8 for 40 from three.
You're absolutely right on that. But I'm saying let's not, especially come playoff time. Let's
Let's
not
not act like KD doesn't have off nights once in a while too, though.
No, he definitely does. But I'm saying, like, he could definitely do that. Him and Kyrie could definitely do that every night in the playoffs.
Okay. This is what I'm just going to rebuttal you with all night. So Embiid was 5 for 17 night. That's happening nightly.
He's not doing that again. No, he's not doing that again.
You might say yes, he is, and I'm going to tell you to buy a fucking clue.
No, he's not.
Harden's going to go 3 for 17 every night, Greg. Come on, dude.
Not every night, but he's going to do it probably more often than not.
How many times in a 7-game series? How many times in a 7-game series?
I love it.
This is egregious. This is literally egregious over hatred. Like, this is amazing. Go ahead, Greg.
The agenda is coming out tonight for you, Greg.
What?
The agenda is coming out tonight for you.
He does it at least 3 times.
I can't compete with that. I can't compete with hatred and not just going to call it how it is. Like, there's one thing to despise a guy, and there's another thing to say, let's just be realistic, too. Maybe he's came up small at times in your eyes and others' eyes, and that's fine. But to say he's going to shoot 3 for 17 3 times in a series, this is proves you're not tuning into games. You're just I'm just going to spitball over hatred. Here I am. And I love you to death, but it's so completely biased that it steals some facts. Right? It takes away facts. So you just told people out there that happens 3 times in 7-game series. So when in his career did he go 3 for 17 in 3 games in a 7-game series? Find me those numbers before you just spit it out like that's going to be factual happen all the time.
No, you asked the question and I answered it. I think it's gonna go.
No, because you said it happens all the time. That's what you said. It happens all the time. It happens more often than not. Were your words, not mine. More often than not. Not my words. I'm just taking your words.
You're right.
I'm taking your words. So Max is going to go 2 for 7 and have no impact on a basketball game nightly?
Not at all.
Greg, can I give you a
it's not to you. I'm spitting into people like you guys.
No, but I completely agree with those.
32% from the field from us. We're going to do that nightly.
Greg, I'll just ask you this before you answer Tom's question, because I honestly do want to hear how you came to that conclusion that Harden's going to do that many times in a playoff series. But before you do that, while you think of your answer, James Johnson went 6 for 7, 3 for 3 from 3. He's never doing that ever again.
No, I agree there.
Well, he had 16 points. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could talk about how Curry had 24.
But that also comes back to, again, that comes back to Doc and our coaching being absolutely horrible, especially tonight.
No, that's James Johnson finally having a.
I would have, Greg. I agree with you for one thing. I would have.
You're telling me Doc couldn't have done anything different to get us in the game at all?
I would have subbed that. I would have subbed when things were going rough.
Yeah,
but now
you're letting James Johnson go off for 16 points for you.
They're
You know what I mean?
like that's.
Greg.
Forget what they do, Greg. My point is, you sub out, right, and you try to get a different 5 in. And it seems like anything he went to just was not working for him early.
And those nights, you're right, absolutely right. Those nights from a coaching, you're going to have it. But again, it's going to come back because I'm not a Doc guy, right? So
this is fucking ridiculous. Like I can't do shows like this anymore. Like where people just have no clue. Like Bill, that's the dumbest comment of all time. Now they're not a top 5 seed, dude. I don't want to talk sports with people that just don't have a feel. Like, if you want to tell me they're not top 3, Bill, and you want to try to make an argument for that, maybe I'll listen to you. Maybe. All right, or not top 2, right? But you're going to tell me they're not top 5 now? They're not top 5.
And Bill, real quick, and this isn't like me agreeing with Tom. It's like, why is it hatred by Greg? Because he's literally said it's hatred. That's not us projecting. That's from his words. Like, he says it's hatred. He's used the word.
Yeah, and the hatred is so strong that it almost made him convert to a Magic fan.
Oh, yeah.
DeMario, no shit. Oh, your energy would have been different if we won. But thanks, Captain Obvious. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Of course our energy would have been different. Oh, thank you.
You win a game. You win a game, and you said
think
that.
It's fair to say that if we would have won, the overreaction would have been, again, it would have been either we lost and it's this, what we're seeing now, or we won and, oh my God, we're going to the finals. We're never going to lose a game ever again. Like, no matter what happened tonight, there was going to be overreaction. That's what happens when you spend, first off, 7 months waiting for this guy to get out, to get our revenge on this guy, and then wait over a month for there to be, oh my God, he's going to be back. He's going to be back. The venom's pumping, all that. We're tailgating for a friggin' Thursday game. Like, that's what happens. It's over-dramatized, especially when it's on national television.
The Grizzlies are better than us, Bill, by a clue, because we just beat them without Harden. So, I mean, I would just stop. I would just stop while you're ahead, Bill. All right, look at the
They're
Bucks
not even in the West. They're not in the West, Bill. They don't have to be better than.
Yeah. This is a joke.
Bill, I love it. I love that you're coming to my back, but come on, man.
This isn't even fun to talk sports. Like, when you talk sports with people that just have agendas, it's not fun. Like, my agenda is just common sense, right? Yes, am I a Sixers fan? Yes, but I would say this about any team after tonight. Like, okay, it doesn't make or break them. It's not the end-all, be-all. They're still a damn good basketball team, the Sixers. They had a shit night, all right? They had a shit night. So it's over? Because I want you all to keep the same energy when this team's in the Eastern Conference Finals, because they will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I want this clip to be ran the second they get there, over and over down people's throats that now are out on this basketball team over one regular season loss. Is it ideal? No. Am I happy? No. Am I going to say fire everybody and we got to blow it up again? No. People came in this chat tonight talking about Bradley Beal. If you did that, I would step away from your computer and punch yourself square in the dick. That's what I would do. I would just say, you know what? Maybe sports isn't for me. Like, there's other things out there, shopping, a lot of online shopping now. Stop watching sports. If you're happy with the loss, stop watching sports. Okay? If you can be pissed off and still realistic at the same time. And hey, hi guys, here I am. I mean, sometimes you run into buzzsaws.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that again. We see that with the Celtics? We saw that with the Celtics. They were shooting unbelievable numbers. The day after we traded for Harden. What is this? They won't get to the Eastern Conference Finals playing like they did tonight. Thanks, Sam.
I really can't do that.
You should be on ESPN with that kind of projection.
I set myself up for what? Believing that the team that has the MVP in the league is going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, because that's a terrible take. That's a terrible take to have, Tom. How could you make that take, Tom? How could you have the balls to say that James Harden and Joel Embiid can go to the Eastern Conference Finals? How dare you, Tom? How fucking dare you?
You should suspend yourself, Tom.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done talking sports because also Tom said, hey, this could be a Kobe Shaq situation. Now I'm an idiot now after tonight. So now everybody tonight is now gonna throw rocks at that one loss.
He's not the MVP. He lost it.
Who is, Tom? You moron. Who is? And if you're telling me he's not top 3, okay, then again, stop watching basketball. Stop. Just stop, guys. So Joker wins it. Good for Joker. I don't care about the MVP.
We just had the MVP in baseball. Doesn't mean anything. Great. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not chasing the MVP. We're not freaking Charlotte. We're not a small market team that knows they're not going to get a title.
What's KD done? Like, KD's now Mr. Winner now. Jesse
missed half the season.
He's Mr. Winner.
Do we
now.
forget why Embiid didn't win it, ladies and gentlemen? Jesse.
No, he's saying like, Joel's not them in the playoffs. Okay, dude.
Fine.
Okay. Yeah, because Joel hasn't got a chance to play.
Yeah, but Joel's never been the reason we've lost a playoff game. or a playoff series.
Kevin Durant's like a
right.
top
You know
15
what I mean?
player of all time.
Clay, Greg, because Joel hasn't played with Clay and Steph before.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
like,
no, that too.
come on, man. Crew, whatever, or $1.99 super chat. We appreciate it. From booing Ben to booing the Sixers, to the Sixers fan, Philly. Yeah, it is what it is.
What does it even mean? Like, oh, Embiid's not Durant in the playoffs. Okay.
Who's Durant in the playoffs?
First off, I don't know. He hasn't been there. He hasn't been healthy in a while. Like, I know he carried the team on his back last year, and he was a foot away from going, past the Bucks. I get it. But, like, Kevin Durant's the top 15 player of all time. Like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to argue Durant. Like, Kyrie's a crumb. All right. Now, he had a big shot for LeBron, and then what else has he done in the postseason? I'm asking for the people out there because everybody just tells me Harden's come up small and other guys come up small. What has Kyrie done besides when he played with LeBron and hit a gigantic shot? Great player, special player. Love Kyrie as a basketball player, okay? But what does he want after that?
I know the Celtics got farther without him that one year.
Yeah, and then they came back.
Yeah,
and he was not arguably he was the worst player in that playoff the entire year, the 2019 playoffs. 2019.
Yeah.
Guys can't even play home games, and the Nets are better than us. Okay. If Nets fans are more confident now, cool story, bro. Because you take him out of your lineup, you stink. You stink out loud. You stink out loud without him in your lineup. Okay, just like you can say we stink without Harden, and that's not true at all because we actually won games without him. Now without Seth and Andre, yeah, then we stink. Like we can't have nothing around, right? But like, come on, we won a lot of basketball games without Harden, right?
2.5 out, right? We're 2.5 out at first before the trade went down.
By the way,
you're right there.
I usually,
and that's because you have the MVP of the league.
Yeah, and I usually 99% of the time I respect this guy's opinion. He's a legend in the game. But Reggie Miller tonight was atrocious. Like, it was actually embarrassing. Like, I get it. I expected the overreaction. I expected the national media to jump on top of it. But how many damn times do we need to hear Reggie Miller say, "Oh, well, what the Sixers might not have factored in is that they traded away a bunch of shooting options. They traded away Seth Curry."
James, buddy, pal. Okay, none. All right, Captain Obvious. But how many got a chance to play with LeBron? Fucking idiot.
Or Curry, or Clay, or Draymond.
No. That's a different guy. He's talking about Kyrie. He's just talking about Kyrie. So how many guys got a chance to play with one of the greatest players of all time? Like him or not, one of the greatest players of all time. That's just factual, okay? The numbers speak for that. The longevity speaks for that. The rings speak for it, okay? So how many guys had a chance to play with him on all your names down there? Because nobody even sniffed a player at his level. A level. And the only one who did was Harden with Paul, and then he got hurt. So shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Jay, Reggie is not right on that. He was saying we missed out on multiple shooting options in the trade. You gave up Simmons, who isn't playing, Drummond, who can't barely make a layup. He's very good rebounding. I give him his respect. And Seth Curry, who's a good role player. So can we stop? And 2 late round picks that don't mean anything. Late first round picks that won't mean anything. That one, I think, is in 2027. Like, can we stop with oh my God, we're going to put a label on the damn trade? No, we're not going to know who won the trade until after this season minimum. We're going to see how both teams do. And really, you're not going to know how good the Nets are until you see a full Simmons season with them. Like, can we stop putting labels a month into it? Enough. It's so damn lazy. And I don't say that as a Sixers fan. I don't. I say that as an NBA fan because they do it every time. Like, I know we're so quick to be like, oh, people were right, people were wrong. We have no idea what is going to happen based off of one damn game on a Thursday. It's 7-game series for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not even guaranteed that we're going to see each other in the playoffs. If I had to bet on it, probably, because of the seeding. Is it probably going to go 6 or 7? It could go either way. Yeah, you know why? Because we have some killers in our team, but they do too. But stop with the, oh my God, just put it as a wrap. We know who won it. We know who lost it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Not nearly as embarrassing as we played tonight, but, it's embarrassing.
Listen, and Curry doesn't do this all the time, Bill, so I would stop. It's not.
Yeah, we know the Curry game.
We watch him here nightly.
We did. We watched him for 2
Man, he was
seasons.
first team all defense tonight, too. We had 5 steals.
Yeah, 4 steals.
Jesus.
I mean, Harden even said in his presser, like, hey, we didn't move the ball well enough. We were stagnant. Like, these guys understand, man. It was one of these nights where we didn't get into a rhythm. All right? We never were able to get into any type of rhythm. Okay? And you have professionals here. You have like top echelon players here that I got to believe are all in it for the right reasons, right? Are all hard workers. Joel's a hard worker. James is a hard worker, like him or not. Tyrese is a hard worker. Tobias is a hard worker, right? Like these guys are not. Those 4 guys are going to work hard. They're going to try to figure it out. They're not just going to like quit because of this game. Actually, I think quite the opposite. I think we go on a run now. I think we're going on a little run. But I think we're going to be a little pissed off and we're going to get some focus back. You're allowed to have a game where you're not focused. You're allowed to. Did you pick the wrong time to not move the basketball? Did you pick the wrong time to get stagnant? Did you pick the wrong time to not get in a rhythm? Bill, they were just all over the court, Bill. They came in. Like sometimes when you come in a situation like this, right, and all the eyes are on you, you almost come in with a little killer mentality and a little extra pep in your step, right? And that's what I watched tonight. That's what I watched.
Emotional games like this, there's always that one team that has more juice to them than the other in a big game like this.
KZ, I hate to say this. I hope you're drinking, brother. I hope you're drinking because I hope you're not sober saying that. Or I hope you got hacked. I hope your account got hacked, honestly. Because you comment a lot, and I don't usually say this, but that comment's idiotic. I appreciate it. But that's it's a horrendously stupid comment.
Almost as bad as this one. Here says Ben Simmons' defense is going to be the key for Brooklyn.
When he doesn't play? I'm sorry. How many steals did he have tonight?
They're worse when he plays because then they go 4-on-5. Then it's over.
Since everybody wants to drop stats in the comments, since I keep seeing numbers, how many steals did Simmons have tonight? What do you go with the line? Since we want to talk about Simmons' impact in the game.
As Foster, it is just one game. Good habits should be executed now, given playoffs just around the corner. 17 games left. Yeah. And they've had good habits. They were 5-0 together. They've had some good habits. Perfect habits? No. But you're done? Tell me you're done. As Foster, are you done? You're out? Put it on the table now. Everybody put their dicks on the table now. All right, if you're done, get a clue. I feel like you guys just can't, like, be mad. Like, you're allowed to be mad and then not overreact, too. Like, I'm mad. I wanted more. Come on. Harden isn't good when it matters. This is all the chat is. Does anybody out there still believe in the chat? Like, anybody?
Tom,
does anybody still believe?
Tom, I think we should lead Phillies next week. I think it's time. It's time to make the switch.
Oh, and get overly disappointed on the lack of moves the Phillies make. Great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be even more disappointed.
Listen, maybe I'm and Tom, you guys, or 4 out of the 5 of us are in the same boat. Maybe we're looking at things wrong. Like, I don't put labels on stuff. I don't. I look at things as a big sample size. The entire Nets season has been a train wreck. They've had guys more missing than playing. Their defense has sucked even worse than us for a big sample size. But no, we want to comment, they were locked down tonight. Why? Because it's the first Nets game you watched? Like, it's fine if you did. Like, it's cool, but it's cool. The season's over. It's great. There was a fun 2 weeks. It's comical.
Oh, Eddie believes. Everybody needs to relax.
John believes. Robert believes. Danny believes.
There we go. That's the spirit.
Samuel never believed in Harden.
Okay, and listen, you can never believe in them. I'm not telling you I Mr. Believe. Dan says, let's give this group time. People need to relax. We should gel by the playoffs. I agree.
Ryan W says, as a Pelicans fan, hey, you got McCollum now.
Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, I have no doubt that the Sixers will be just fine come playoff time. I'm just pissed right now that Harden cost me a parlay.
Oh man, that's a different type of mad.
What were the details, Rye?
You talking about? Oh, you're talking about.
No, I'm talking to Ryan. What were the details? What did he miss on?
Okay.
Just one? Was it just one, or he did have 3 threes, right? Or was it just 3 he hit?
Av Mail says, as a Clipper fan, I can just say enjoy the Doc Rivers playoff experience. Oh no, we already have, but thanks.
Yeah,
we're already a year in, but thank you.
Sam says Max and Tobias need to be consistent. Embiid is dominant. Harden is good, but the whole point bringing Harden in is spreading out the floor. People hitting shots consistently, which we have.
And that's so tough to put on a second-year player, right? I mean, yes, Maxey has been very, very good, but as a second-year player, you're going to go through ebbs and flows in the NBA. You want to throw Tobias in that? Fine, throw Tobias in there, right? Tobias needs to be more consistent, 100%. That's absolute accurate. But to throw Maxey in that as a second-year guy is just unfair to the kid, and especially since he's been playing well.
I want to get a true gauge of because Tom and I did this pre-disaster tonight when we did our show on Tuesday. I want you three to chime in. Well, I mean, we'll all chime in, but you three didn't get a chance to do it in the chat. So post-disaster, right? So I know there's going to be a lot of overreaction in the comments. We're not doing power rankings just as far as best teams in the Eastern Conference. What's your current ranking? Where the Sixers fall? You don't have to do top 8, just like top 4, unless you don't think the Sixers are in the top 4, and then there'll be more yelling if you don't think they're in the top 4. But I'll wait.
Like where they're going to end up? You mean?
No. Just it doesn't.
Or just like right now in the moment of time.
Yeah, like confidence meter. Like usually the team. You know what I'm saying?
So go ahead, Ralph.
Heat 1 for me.
Okay. So you think, just to clarify, you think the Heat right now...
We're doing it after this game.
Yeah, so right now, if I were to ask you, who do you think the team is that's going to win the Eastern Conference? You would say Heat right now.
Oh, okay. I see how we're doing this.
Yeah, it's the best team in the East.
All right.
Yeah, but the power rankings change every week, though.
I didn't say. I said we're not doing power rankings. Don't wait, Ralphie. Why are you doing this?
He did say we're not doing power rankings. He
okay.
Clearly
then give me Bucks 1.
Okay.
Heat 2. No, excuse me. Sixers 2. Heat 3. And then the Celtics are on such a great run right now. They're like 15-2. You know what?
My rankings, by the way, they're the same. Sixers are 1.
Okay.
The last team, it's between Chicago and Boston. Oh, you know what? Just because they're 15-2 right now and they're on a crazy run, I have to put them over Chicago. Give me Boston.
Okay. Frank?
I'm going to go Bucks 1. Yeah, Sixers 2, Heat 3, Celtics. No, Celtics 3, Heat 4. Or, yeah. Yes.
Greg?
I don't think the Nets can't jump ahead of us anyway, right? Like all these people putting the Nets ahead of us.
It doesn't matter. No, we're not factoring in seeding. I thought this was going to be an easy exercise.
No. I know, but you're saying about winning the Eastern Conference, though, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It kind of does play into a little bit of seeding, right? But for everybody putting the Nets ahead of us, I don't think that can happen. They're like a 500 team right now. I do have the Bucks 1, and I had the Sixers top 3. It's just I don't know if I believe in the Heat enough to hold on, or if the Sixers can take that 2 hole. But I have them in the top 3.
All right, I'll go Bucks 1, Sixers 2, Heat 3, Nets 4, Celtics 5. And shocking, Bill, the Celtics fan, has the Nets up there with the Celtics, and the Sixers nowhere to be found.
What else is new, Bill?
Yep.
What else is new? Hey, you guys are on a good run, 15-2.
Yeah, happy for
Can't
you.
deny that.
Bill, is this real life, Bill? Like they can't even win. They can't even win the Eastern Conference. So if it's your
That's what
if it's your confidence meter and then winning the Eastern Conference, me putting them at 4 is actually a nice praise. All right. So I would even buy more of a clue tonight. All right. And oh my God, I can't. And if it's about who I think the best team in the Eastern Conference is, I'm still going to say the Sixers. I'm not going to change my answer off of one game. I'd be a loser. To sit here and tell you I think they're the best team in the East, and then all of a sudden they lose a game in the regular season, and I don't even have them won anymore. And if you don't think they're a top 4 team, again, I'm going to tell you that then you have bias. You're biased coming in here. You want to put the Bucks ahead of them? They're defending champs. Be my guest. I'm not gonna shit on you for the Bucks, right? The Heat, I think you're giving a little too much credit to. That's all. Anybody who puts the Heat ahead of them, I think you give a little bit too much credit. But okay, I understand it because they're having a good regular season. But the team that finishes first in Eastern Conference in the regular season doesn't usually cut the nets down. Just to clarify that for the people.
Yeah, that's true. Ralphie, did you have the Heat over us?
We know that all too well.
Yeah. Ralphie, did you have the Heat over?
I had Bucks Sixers. Sixers.
Greg, you had the Heat over us, correct?
Well, it gun to my head, maybe yes. I don't know though, right? I have them right next to each other. You know what I mean? Because I kind of agree with Tommy, right? Like I don't know what the Heat really are. Like, do they sustain this? Who knows?
They're deep. They're deep, and they probably have the best.
The
best coach probably in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion.
Yes. So I have them kind of next to each other, but I definitely have Sixers there in the top 3 for sure.
Wow, Bill, stop drinking. See, that's completely disrespectful. You got 2 great players, and after that, the rest is slop. So Maxey, who's like playing like an all-star slop, Bill, like enough. Like it's tiresome. It's tiresome. Let me see.
And what do you have, Bill? I was asking for a friend.
They're good. Two very good players. Tatum's been great recently, but again,
Tatum's
recently.
a star.
Tatum's a star.
Jaylen Brown's one of my favorite players. So I mean, Bill, I can have an unbiased opinion on it though with you. All right, you have 2 stars, and then what? You tell me Marcus Smart? Get a fucking clue. All right, who are you going to tell me, Bill? Tristan Thompson. I don't know. You don't have Tristan Thompson, but Daniel.
Robert Williams.
Daniel Tice.
Daniel Tyson, Robert Williams.
Peyton Pritchard.
Oh, no, Bill. We were told that for 5 years. That's funny, Bill. Defense wins championships.
No, it doesn't in the NBA, Bill. Superstars win championships. Great players win championships, right? This isn't 1990. This isn't the early 2000s where you got to be the most palmsy group, because in reality, on paper, we've been efficiency-wise the number 1 defense in basketball last year. So I would, again, buy a fucking clue. All right? I'm just here for the people tonight. I'm just here to tell you facts. Nobody likes facts, but I'm here to tell you facts. And now the Celtics are unbeatable. Get a clue, dude. Come on. They're playing great basketball right now. But if you think they're a top 3 seed, you're just being a homer.
Jamar brought up a good point about the Heat. I think it's a good characteristic of them being battle tested, right? I mean, you add the veterans that they have on that team, right? And that's a good adjective and a way to describe what the Heat are, because they are. Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, right? Those guys have been through it a once or twice.
Well, and Tom and I both agreed on this, and let me know if you guys think there's another player above this. And Tom and I aren't saying he's the best player on the team, but if you get into a 7-game series with the Miami Heat, Tom and I argued on Tuesday that Tyler Hero might be the most important, because you know what you're going to get from Butler and Bam and Lowry if he's healthy, because I feel like he barely plays. And again, like, they're guards and they have a deep team, right? Like, you have like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, who's like turns into Kevin Durant whenever he plays the Sixers.
Oh, he lights us up.
Yeah, and PJ Tucker, like they're very deep. And again, like, so that's why we respect them. But Tyler Hero, the biggest reason why they went to the bubble, the Lamicki finals, was that Tyler Hero was bubble man, and then he completely fell off, and that's why they struggled a lot last year. That and injuries.
He came back to earth.
So if and basically a sixth man goes crazy and Troy cuts up the second unit on us, that's big. That's important. So, like, we're not saying that we would sweep Miami. We're not saying we would beat them in 5. But at the end of the day, I think we all look at ceiling and we look at projection, right? And you look at, okay, if things – and I actually think Barkley made a really good point, one of the few tonight when he wasn't overreacting. And he was saying, like, what was glaring about tonight's performance is that when you have Maxey and you have Embiid and even Tobias, all Harden needs to do if he's not on is not play horrible. Like you saw, Tom and I talked about it on Tuesday, there's a handful of games so far in this small sample size where he's really coasted as far as scoring offensively. Mm-hmm. He's just sat back and gotten other guys involved. And obviously it's much easier for him to when Maxey's on other guys because then he can depend on them. Tonight he felt like he had to do a lot extra because they were smothering Joe. Maxey wasn't any impact. So he forced it and he didn't have it. That's why, like, you don't need all of them to be clicking. If they're all clicking, well, then you're blowing teams out. Anywhere from freaking Miami to the Magic. The problem is nothing was clicking, and it was egregiously bad. And on the flip side, you played Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And James Johnson, who had 16 points.
Who didn't miss. Right?
Bill, we're 2-1 versus Celtics this year, Bill. So, I mean, you're talking about one game where you beat us by 48. Like, are you okay? Like, this is where you draw the line with me, Bill. Like, you have no facts, anything. You bring nothing to the table but the same tired argument. You bring up one game. We're 2-1 versus you. You gonna talk about other ones?
And the one game was the day after a huge trade in the organization.
So the two losses that we had have been ugly.
Did we need to lose by 48? No, but was it? Did you understand it?
Yeah. And they lost by 48 because they took the friggin' starters. You know what I'm saying? And the Celtics ran it up.
Greg, Bill. So you're looking at two things. You're looking at when we made the Harden trade, we came out flat, and Ben Simmons sitting on the bench, we came out flat. So when there's been like other things happening, we came out a little sketchy. Okay.
2 games in like 3 weeks, though. We're not going to factor in the other games. That's fine.
Shane, you're never going to have problems, Shane, when you put Ben Simmons on the court. You're going to have too many problems. You're going to have a guy who doesn't play offense. So, like, what? Now we're talking about Ben Simmons. Like, he didn't play tonight. So if you think they're as good, like, and it's good ball movement and open looks or whatever as they were tonight, I would think you're misguided. You haven't watched the guy for 5 years.
Look at him getting personal now, Tom. When you guys are just sitting around doing nothing all day. Oh, we don't have full-time jobs?
Listen to what? I'm telling you that it's a good basketball team. I'm telling you that's the top 3 team in the East. Like, if you don't see that, Bill, then fine. I'm not going to argue with you anymore. I'm not going to argue with a tired argument of 48 points. All you talk about. Right? And then once you say they're not a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, you lose all credibility. Like, all credibility is out the window. You're not even allowed to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's a Celtics fan, and he's an Eagles fan. And I'm not here to take shots. Be fans of whatever you want, but I don't know. I put up a little flag, like a little red one, and I wave it. Little red flag. Hey, little red flag. And if you think Harden's going to shoot 3 for 17 every night, then, again, time's yours. If you think it's a nightly problem, right, then okay. Then fine. Then you don't believe in this team. For anybody out there. If you don't think that this team is good from what you watch over 5 games, and people are going to tell me who they played, okay, they played some good basketball teams now. So now those wins don't matter. They didn't play anybody good because Chicago wasn't winning games, right? Cleveland isn't winning games, right? Those teams aren't winning games. Minnesota isn't winning games.
They called Minnesota. I can't get this out of my friggin' head. The pregame show, they called them one of the hottest teams in the NBA coming out of the break. But the second we beat them, and we roll them over, the narrative changes to, it's Minnesota. Where the hell was that energy to where, I don't like Philly's chances. Oh my God, you've got the lack of chemistry with Harden and Embiid against the hottest team. Enough.
Show me it. Show me it, KZ. Show me the numbers to prove that.
It's like, what every game?
Show me the
If he
3%.
if he shot like that every game, how is he top 75 all time? How? I'm not even putting that on the screen.
I just don't know what to tell people. Yeah, we beat the Bucks without Harden, but we're ass in Milwaukee. You guys are idiots. You really are. Tyler, you're spot on. You know, nobody's going to talk about the games we won. So now, KZ, we're going off of 1 year. Okay, look up his numbers last year against Milwaukee. Okay, KZ. Okay, fine. 1 year always comes up small in the playoffs. Has it all the time. Okay, is he perfect? Was I Mr. Harden prior to this? No, but I think it's a perfect fit, and I think over time we're going to continue to see that, like we did through 5 games when everybody in this goddamn chat was talking about how well they fit together. Now they don't.
Bill is on one tonight. My God.
Yeah, he's probably smashing TVs.
Like, that's why I said, like, right, if you would have said agree or Ralph or anybody in here that I've talked to about this, I would have lost my mind.
I can't even talk shit because my team sucks. So I'm just sitting back.
No, it's not even about talking shit.
No.
That's the problem, Rob. It's not even about talking shit. Like, it's about just like through 5 games, if you didn't say, wow, this team looks really good, and then all of a sudden say I have major concerns, I would then expose you.
But in reality, you're 5-1.
I would expose you.
Yeah.
Like, I was praying to God, Ryan.
Now, if you guys were like 500 and 2-4, then tonight's a different story. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just think everything that happened tonight and the whole week leading up to it and the trade and everything, like, dude, your 2 superstars shot 8 for 34 tonight. That's never gonna happen again.
Ralphie, you're not gonna
happen again. Come on.
You're not gonna talk smack, Ralphie, because you actually have a brain. You're not somebody who's gonna be desperate to get involved in the chat. And again, appreciate you, Bill. And also blow up our DMs to upload this video of me breaking another TV. I did it for you. I did it for the people. Bill, stop. Because if we want to expose Bill, stop. So put down the crack pipe. Maybe put down the phone before we get personal. Enough. You're embarrassing yourself. You're probably 60 and you're embarrassing yourself. But go on, Ralphie. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I had to say. It's just, I mean, do you guys think you get the same reaction if you guys played like San Antonio tonight and you got blown out by that much? You guys think you get the same reaction? That's the only thing though, is like, if it was against a different team, I don't think like the city burns down the night. You know what I'm like? But it's like,
there's no hype for that game, right? I mean, and that plays into it. That's
the point, though.
That plays into it, right? And that's part of the concern because of how because of the hype of how it made the game, right? Whether it's real or not, it was the reality, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, you know, just everything that happened transpired, you know, through the trade, and everybody had this game circled on the calendar. Is Ben's going to play or is he not going to play? And, you know, now he's going to be on the bench for the game and all the media hype around it. And then this happens. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of overreacting. Yeah. I think you guys will be fine.
His hammy was bad in that series too. But, I mean, I'm not making an excuse for the guy because I'm not here to make excuses for poor performances. All right, I'm not here to make an excuse for a poor performance tonight. All right, I got zero fucking time for it. I didn't make this trade for you to go 3 for 17. So, like, for anybody out there that thinks that I'm going to run from it, or I'm going to say that I'm happy with this loss, or you know, no, I'm just going to say the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And what I mean by that is, like I said earlier, like a couple minutes ago, if Ryan would have went agreed, I would have lost my marbles. Like if somebody that I've talked to that we've done shows like that really believe in this basketball team, and then all of a sudden now we have major concerns because the team came in and shot 70% from the field. All right, then okay. You tell me they're going to do that night in, night out in a 7-game series. Again, I got beachfront in Idaho for you. I do. If you're going to tell me Katie and Kyrie go off, I expect that. But I don't expect everybody else to be going off with them. And that's what we ran into it tonight, which is called a buzzsaw. All right? And we did the opposite from all our players. The only guy who shot well was Tobias, essentially. So all our guys struggled from the field tonight.
That's sad.
And it's funny too, because like if we didn't have to like talk to like all the overreactors, and if everything was just kind of like, it was a bad game, we would be, I think for a majority of the show, be crushing Harden. Like Harden was the worst player in basketball tonight. So like it's not, like we said at the beginning, it's not a show to make excuses. We're pissed. Like, so Habib had the first comment of the night before we even started. He's like, yo guys, I wouldn't mind, you know, you wouldn't be mad if you guys canceled. I would understand. Like it's tough. It's really, really tough. Harden was an absolute disaster, and everything that followed. But come on, guys. And again, nobody's stamping it after this game like, oh, we're winning the NBA Finals. We're going to go 4-4-4. No, if people did that, then I would say like, let's calm down. Maybe let's wait a couple of days. No, my quote unquote power rankings, my Eastern Conference standings, exactly how it was on Tuesday. There's a couple teams I think we are looking up at, and there's a couple teams I think we're better than in the top 5.
Okay, I mean, yeah, he's terrible, KZ. You know, he's such a bad player. Top 75 player of all time, just a bad player. Not good enough. Dan says, so apparently the starters didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter to pay tribute to Ben tonight. That's great, Danny. Well done. Well done.
Our starters or their starters?
Probably
Our
both.
starters.
Probably both. I don't think any starters were in the game.
And, okay, Harden, it wasn't his hamstring. Shane, it was actually his calf. And the game was over. So.
Hamstring was last year, yes.
So, okay, his calf was – he got
and then tonight, yeah.
He got some ice on his calf or some heat on his calf. Who cares? He didn't say anything about being hurt.
Was there some report that is
come on the podium talking about, hey, I hurt my calf tonight. That's why I struggled.
Did a report from Shams come out that he's missing the next week? Like, okay, he had ice on his knees. He had ice on his calf. Okay.
Jesse didn't believe. Jesse didn't believe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you want it. I don't know why you want it. And this guy says Sixers are bad. Okay, this is funny now. And now he's washed.
Jesus.
I got past like the mad part. Like I'm just laughing at this point. Like I was mad for like the first 5 minutes. Like I'm gonna look back on the show and be like, why was I smiling so much? Because I just keep looking at the chat.
Yeah.
A free throw one time.
And then we got like Don trying to be peacemaker in the chat with like people arguing.
Well, listen, he's got the Pistons involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's got the Pistons involved. And then we got Bill, whatever Bill's doing right now. And
no, in KZ, we're not saying you're a fake fan, my brother. He says you all seem on this channel with positive comments. Like we've said before, if you want it, we're not going to tell you guys how to feel. But, like, don't come on the flip side and then call us homers for feeling the opposite way of you. Or oh, I told you so. And I'm not saying you're saying that, KZ. Like, you don't believe. Okay. All right.
So stay on that side. Like, I will tell you how to feel. Right? Like, I'll tell you how to feel when if it goes the way we want it to go and hope for it to go. Don't just jump on the wagon.
That was a Ben Simmons just used.
Because you have no positive. You said nothing positive tonight. Right, you pretty much trashed this basketball team. So when you're trashing them tonight, you're not allowed on that side. So through the 5 wins, were you trashing? Were you? Because it seems like KZ, you're waiting for this to happen so you can tell everybody how right you are. That's what it sounds like to me. But I don't know.
Let's go.
KZ, give it a couple days, my brother. Give it a
Love
couple
March.
days.
Penn State just upset Ohio State. Boom. Good job.
By the way, Tom, you quoted the infamous Ben Simmons line when you started that. Stay on that side. The infamous Ben Simmons line after game 1 against the Nets in the playoffs. Taking shots to the fans. That was like the first straw to fall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to boo? Stay on that side.
So the 5 wins he was with us, they're not big moments at all.
oh my gosh.
So why play them? Well, there is positive things. So you're just not factoring in any other games. KZ, that's the problem. So say when your speculation of what would happen in front of your face yet again. I don't know. I've watched good basketball in front of my face too.
KZ, if they go 4-2 the next 6 games, okay, and I rolled out the next 6 games, they're not flukes at all. You've got Magic, Nuggets, Cavs, Mavericks, Raptors, Heat. You go 4-2 with a lot of good teams, a lot of really good teams in that. How we saying? And I don't want to see people be like, "Oh, how did Harden play?" Well, clearly, if they went 4-2, they played well. They got 4 out of 6. Okay, I'm not even going to the 5-1. I'm not even going 6-0. You come out with a winning record in the next 6. Are we still panicking? And maybe some people say we are. Okay, that's fine. You have every right to. I'm not going to tell you how to feel.
Listen, guys, you guys can talk about Harden and all the things that you want to say, and that's fine. And I'm not telling you that it's not wrong at times or it's wrong at times. What I'm telling you is we still have the best player in basketball. Okay? So I expect this. I expect us to, be one of the last ones standing here. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you can overreact to so many different things, but you overreact to the sample size. The sample size is you beat 5 teams, right? When you guys were together. The sample size is 2 of those teams are playoff teams. A third is a borderline playoff team in the West, right? And the other 2, the other one was you got the Knicks twice, right? And we know they're not playing good this year, but they were a playoff team last year.
Jesse says, "Hey, I'm allowed to start believing in this team if I watch some of my doubts go away. I want to see the Sixers win." Yeah, you do. You do, Jesse.
Well, what doubts, Jesse? Because then did you not watch the 5 games prior? So they just, like I said, they just don't matter to you? That's what I'm asking the people out there. So it seems like the 5 other games just don't matter, and this is the only one that does.
Molly Mall says, "Sixers will be okay. It's only 1 game. Probably will be a top 3 seed in the playoffs." I agree, Molly. Molly, are you a Sixers fan? Because I know you're a Cowboys fan.
He's a Wizard. He's got a Wizard.
Yeah, he's got the Wizard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's a DC cat.
I just wanted to gauge.
who just
What
happens
up,
to follow
Mikey?
Cowboys.
I just wanted to gauge the variety in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see, I want to get a mental percentage of like, okay, here's a good exercise for the chat, fam. Tell us if you're watching what what team you're a fan of, because I want to see if it's mostly Sixers, if it's Nets, if it's
Yeah, I mean there was a good
Timberwolves,
appearance
Magic.
of some Nets fans
Oh, I'm sure.
early
No,
in
I
the
expected a
show,
lot.
and then you have Bill being a Celtics fan, Don a Pistons fan, Yusuf, I believe I saw Yusuf in the chat. I think he's another one of the Wizards fans.
Oh yeah, he's a Washington guy.
Yeah.
Jesse, to answer your question, Tommy says, "Tom, I'm just not a Harden believer, but like I was saying, I want to see the Sixers win. I want my mind to change about Harden."
I'm not a Harden per se believer, okay? And everybody knows that knows me. But did you watch the 5 games, Jesse? You can't not believe in that even a little bit. Come on. How good they look together. How fluid did this offense look? So we're just going to not count them? That's what I'm asking everybody. How do you not discount that? You don't have to be a believer of him, but you can't say that he didn't look unselfish and he didn't get everybody involved. And, right? Come on.
Sam Fleming says, "I only started watching the Sixers again after 10 years because of the Harden trade. I liked what I saw in the first 5. Our guys have to be more consistent, though. Joe can't do it all." Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think all of us would. Carson agrees with you, Tom. Welcome back to the NFC East, Carson.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
We get to see you twice.
In other news, Yusuf wants to thank you, Ralph, for Kyle Kuzma.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Nice. Yusuf, what's up, brother?
You're welcome.
Ralph's a nice guy like that.
Yes.
He's just a giver.
Right.
KZ says he can't do what he did the last 4 games in big games, though. That's his problem. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. But let's see him go on a trend where he struggles. This is 1 game where he struggled.
I don't even know what to say anymore. So, I mean, I'm at a loss for words. The season's over. That's how the chat feels. It just feels like that.
Yeah, Ralphie, the Phillies sign anybody yet, by the way? Anything?
No signings of yet.
Oh.
Nope.
Though I
Nobody.
did get earlier today, I did get excited for some Phillies news, but then I turned out it was a tweet from Vin Fosh. I'm like, now my day's ruined.
Yeah, not your first rodeo with the fake news with the Phillies. Frank.
Yeah, let's not relive that again. So,
Machado? Do we get Machado? All right,
no.
we trade for Machado.
Bob Nightingale.
Still waiting.
Oh,
Well, I mean, this is like the one positive today is that we're lucky enough to get baseball back.
my God, it's going to be our refuge.
Yes.
No, it won't because they stink. So
Not as much as the Sixers do, apparently, though, Tom.
right.
Might as well just cancel the season. I mean, we might have to root for an NBA strike. Jeez.
Harden's never like an intense. See, Embiid's always that type of player, though. KZ.
He's the Harden. Even go back to friggin' to Houston. He's this. He's so he's this. He's never been Mr. Hype. Ever.
All right, and again, I don't expect Maxey to not have an impact. I don't expect that consistently. You know what I mean? I just don't. Listen, Donnie, they do have a lot to prove. Nobody's going to run from that, Don. That Embiid and Harden have a lot to prove. Nobody out here is going to say that they don't have a lot to prove.
Microscope is on.
And I like guys with a lot to prove. And I thought Joel was going to have a monster game tonight because of who was sitting on the other side. But he didn't play. And I feel like if he plays, maybe they're more locked in. They're more focused, right? I don't know. But I don't want to chalk up a terrible loss. Sorry, I never want to just chalk it up. But in the regular season, I can. Right? In the postseason, I cannot. Make sense, guys? Like in the postseason, I can't chalk up terrible performances.
You can't just because of how short the game, the series is. You know what I mean?
Tom, the score can end up being like an old friggin' Virginia March Madness game where it's friggin' 40-30. You know what I'm saying? The ugliest game ever. If we're winning, I don't give a damn. You understand? It could be the ugliest game ever.
And John, I agree with that. They do need to tighten up their defense. Tonight it didn't look good, and obviously guys made shots, so that doesn't help your defense at all. I thought they were late on pick and rolls as a squad. I thought it felt like there was some confusion defensively tonight. I didn't think guys were rotating well enough. If you want my honest opinion, that's what I saw. So, and then I saw another team also shoot the lights out because once they were able to get sort of easy buckets early, it just opened up the floodgates. And that happens sometimes. But I've also watched this team play good defense at times, and their last game out, I think they won that game because of their defense against Chicago. They really tightened up their defense in the third quarter, and they played lights out. So, I've also seen good defense too.
And honestly, if people want to put the overreaction aside and they want to talk about there's a couple things we are still concerned about. Offensive rebounds, that's going to be a concern. That has been. Even in the 5-game stretch where they were undefeated, I thought our interior defense was pitiful at times. There's things that I'm not going to speak for everybody. Me, I personally don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not seeing. It seems like this defense pre-Harden trade, and obviously Harden's not going to give you a ton on defense at all. They're kind of flat-footed defensively. They're really flat-footed on rebounds. So that I don't know if that's coming. If that switch is going to get fixed. That's something that we struggled with before and after the Harden thing. That's just something that we're going to have to deal with. But on the flip side, we got to look at it all right, we might have deficiencies defensively, but that's also why you've got to rely on Harden, Embiid, Maxey, Tobias all doing their jobs and the bench not being atrocious to where you're putting up 125 on average points a night to where you're outscoring teams. That's the kicker. I don't personally, gun to head, I don't think this defense gets much better. I don't know. Maybe the intensity goes up. Possibly. We might have games where we're on the winning end of turnovers like Brooklyn was tonight. But I just don't think that's changing. That's just kind of the way it is.
Jonathan, is that a serious question? Are we comparing Matisse Thybulle to the number 1 overall pick and Ben Simmons, the next coming of Magic Johnson, the next coming of LeBron James? Are we comparing that? Because if we are, then I would stop. I would just stop again. So we were hard on a guy. Actually, quite the opposite, Jonathan. We gave the guy fucking hand jobs for shooting the ball. I mean, seriously, think about it. If he made 2 free throws, it was the greatest show of all time. All right, so that
if he made two free throws, we don't lose the Hawks.
John, are you okay? Learn sports. You just compared Ben Simmons to Matisse Thybulle. You did that, not me. You did. Why are you so hard? We're not hard on Matisse. The spotlight isn't on Matisse Thybulle, honey. Come on. Be better, people. Be better tonight. We were hard on a guy that we were lied about too, and he lied to us. All right, constant lies from Ben Simmons. Constant. All right, the guy couldn't play here, but he had no problem coming in the arena tonight looking like a bumblebee. So, hey, look at me. Everybody see me. Hey, one more chain. I felt like the guy was going to fall over. All right, so enough. It was all a lie. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the game of basketball. And if you don't like James Harden, you should hate Ben Simmons 100 times more. All right, because Ben Simmons makes James Harden look like a saint. An altar boy. All right. So grow up, people. Grow up. This is the biggest disgrace in sports history. And we're sitting here. We're sitting here actually like talking about how you were hard on a guy. How we were hard on a guy. The guy lied about mental illness and not play basketball. To quit on his teammates. All right. Take his ball and go home. Right. Lied to millions of Americans and people all over the globe that struggle day in and day out with mental illness. That don't have the beautiful Uggs that he has. Doesn't have the beautiful home he has. Doesn't have the beautiful cars he has. Now, not saying that all equals you should have great mental health. That's just saying there are people out there that struggle way more than he does because he doesn't, right? That have less. So knock it off.
Yeah,
everybody out there, knock it off.
And that don't get to play a game for a living.
So Ben wasn't the problem, James. So the problem was Joel and Doc Rivers, but Ben wasn't the problem, James. Oh my goodness, tonight is crazy. Tonight is insane. I'm being punked.
Wow, that's a new one. That's a new one.
MVP candidate. I'm just gonna say candidate because apparently he lost the MVP award tonight. So I'm just gonna say candidate.
Marquis, spot on. Why are the Lakers so hard on LeBron? Why aren't they hard on Austin Reeves?
I mean, Austin Reeves is very awkward.
Austin Reeves is the GOAT.
He's very awkward, right, Ralphie?
He's so
very awkward.
I will speak on it. Okay. So don't tell me what I should speak on and not speak on when first off, you don't know nothing about my stories. All right. Or anything. So then I would just pump my brakes there. Second off, I can speak on it when it's been the timeline of it. I can speak on it when I know it's a lie. I can speak on it when I've witnessed what I've witnessed for 5 years and everybody out there has. And now it's, I mentally can't handle it. You mentally can't handle it for a fan base that begged you, all right, that rallied around you, that loved you, that protected you like you were their son. Yeah, you know what? It's on us.
But by the way, what's with all these people having kitty cats as their profile? This is like the third guy who's popped up.
Ben fans. Everybody's got a kitty cat. Is a Ben.
Raise the cat. Remember,
raise the cat. There's like 7 people in here that are commenting. They've all got kitty cats on here. Well, who was the other one?
Oh my god.
I mean, I expected that earlier. You guys are late. Yeah, look, Jonathan's got a kitty cat too. What's going on?
God! Swear we might have a friggin' musical with all these cats. Jesus. Cats.
People that have cats, period, when I don't know. I always look at them a little differently. Yeah. Like if you got a kitty at home, you don't got a dog. I'm like, I just question a little bit.
I got a new dog today, Tom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Brought this into the household. I thought it was a good day. Oh, we got baseball. Jason Kelsey's back. Dog heard a lot of yelling tonight. A lot of yelling from up here.
That's made a statement tonight. Okay, cool.
Why? That they're going to make the playoffs? It's great.
So, Ant, your response is Embiid isn't going to get a 10,000 free throws, or sorry, 100,000 free throws in the playoffs. So you're telling me he's not going to get fouled when he gets fouled all the time. Okay, thanks, buddy. Thanks for dropping in tonight. Appreciate you. You know, maybe leave a super chat on your way out just to let everybody know you were here. All right, because that would be my goodness gracious. I really can't. I really can't. Now he won't get fouled. So, guys, breaking news: Joel Embiid will not get fouled in the playoffs.
I mean, he leads the NBA in free throw attempts, but in the playoffs, it's not going to happen.
These are just idiots. Greg, I'm sorry I took it out on you earlier just because I know you're a well-documented hater. But the only thing I'll say to you is you can't not watch 5 games and then tell me that you're concerned. You were just concerned prior to it because you don't like a guy. But if you would have watched those 5 games, I think you would have enjoyed some things. I think there would be some things that you would, because I feel like you're smarter than this, that you would have watched because you're a basketball guy. And you would have said to yourself, hey, wow, this isn't sort of what I thought he was, right? I think you would have said that because I did. I need to see it too here, right? I'm not Team Harden. You know this, all right? I said last year on these airways that I would not have traded Ben Simmons for James Harden last year at the deadline. I was holding on to hope, okay? I think I've called him a mutt in the past. But then I watched him for 5 games, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, but my whole point is, like, we didn't need to trade for James Harden to beat those teams. We were beating those teams already with Joel because of the monster season that he was having. This is the type of game that you trade for James Harden for, right? This is that type of game. The Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics, right? The Heat. Those are those type of games that you want to see that from him in those games, even though they are just regular season games. Like that was my whole point is, yeah, I'm going to overreact, right? Because I hate the guy. You're absolutely right. But I didn't need James Harden to beat the Timberwolves because Joel owns them. You know what I mean? Like I didn't need to. Not saying those wins don't count, but I didn't need James Harden for that.
You're missing the point. I don't need you to watch it because you need to see wins now with Harden. I need you to watch it to see the fit. I need you to watch it to see the unselfishness that I saw that I didn't know.
But again.
That's not
again, like I expect that against those teams because we're already better than them. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I expect to put up 125 a night against those teams because we're already better than them before James.
Greg, it's about watching those two play together. Come on. That's what I want you. That's what I'm almost begging you to watch. Listen, this segment is brought to you. Sam, I'll get to your question in a minute. This segment is brought to you by FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Make sure you use promo code A2D.
FanUp is the best.
Bonus points. $50 value. FanUp right on the Apple Store, and make sure you use our promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. I'll keep you playing for a while. No salary cap. Go enjoy it, family. Sam, no, I am not concerned. Okay? Now talk to me in a week. Right? You know what I mean? Like tonight, I'm not going to just jump off the cliff on concern talk. Right? Tonight, I'm going to try to take it in and say it's one game, not a good look. Not a good look at all. But if this was like the first game we traded for Harden and this was game 1 of it and we lost like this, I'm hot. I'm hot as a pistol. All right? Hot as a pistol. I probably would have said we shouldn't have made the trade. Right? It's now game 6. We won 5 straight games with these guys together. No matter who you play, it's the NBA. Teams cough up games all the time. We watch it, right? We watch it all around the league. So we won 5, and then we lose 1. No, I'm not going to be concerned right now. Now you come out against Orlando and lay an egg, right? And then you got some bigger matchups starting after that with Denver, etc. Right? And you start playing like this, then I'm concerned. Now, if you're losing a game on a buzzer beater or you lose a game by 4 tight down the stretch, that's a little different story, right? Okay. RD, of course, brother. Of course. Glad you can chime in. We appreciate the super chat. You guys help drive the show, A2D. And if you're not a member, you become a member too. It's right in the description on YouTube. You click on it, $9.99 a month. We're giving you picks, right? We're giving you fantasy picks as well. Daily fantasy stuff, and Major League Baseball is going to be back. So, Wells. Wells, he loves MLB fantasy. So he'll be giving you some good picks too.
I'll add this in here really quick. And it really means nothing in the grand scheme of things, but everyone, for the most part, talking about like comparing Simmons to Harden and all that stuff. Hold on, Ryan, real quick. I didn't say Orlando mattered.
I'm saying, like, if you go lay an egg against a bad team and then that continues in the next week where you have good teams, Philly fan, that's what I said. I said that leads into good teams. So you expect to come out, beat the brakes off Orlando, and then you have a big week coming up to sort of then get people to believe in you again. Okay?
Phillies fan, it does matter too. Maybe not to the degree of a Miami game or a Nuggets game, but it does matter because it's your next game. It's the first opportunity to respond from the embarrassment. It does. It does matter. It's just a little accessory to the conversation. It really means nothing. But everyone talk about, oh, Simmons, Harden, oh, you shouldn't have made the trade. Harden did something tonight that Simmons has never done. He took ownership for the loss. Again, it doesn't matter. Like, I really don't care too much about what they say, words. I care about what they do. Like, I want him to take ownership in his play, when we play the Magic and going forward, but fully put the loss on himself. So anyone saying, oh, bad teammate, this shows it. He's not checked in. Oh, Simmons could have been here. Huh. Simmons wasn't doing that.
At least James Harden actually got to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
He played. At least he played. Dribbled.
Well, you know what? Here's a from Hoop Reference. Okay. I think it's interesting. Doc watched Kevin Huerter torch Seth Curry for an entire series last year. I can't figure out a way to get Maxey to exploit that matchup, but some people think he's a good coach because of a championship he won with the super team over a decade ago. I'll say this though. Okay, I agree to a point, but I also thought Tyrese was hesitant tonight.
Yeah,
and he runs into that sometimes. Okay.
Again, second-year guy, right?
Yeah, he wasn't decisive like he was those 5 games prior, where he was extremely decisive, knew what he wanted to do, get to his spots, etc. He wasn't that tonight at all. All right. Now, you want to put it on coaching, fine. Listen, what I said about Brett Brown for years here. Players play, man. This is the NBA, though. Coaching's important, right? Accountability is important. Believing and listening to your coach is important. They got a good staff here. All right, a very good staff. So we would have been fine with Sam Cassell as our head coach. We all said that. So at the end of the day, let's not act like the Nets have the greatest coach of all time. I mean, Steve Nash, great guy. All right, but come on. He's walked into a great team. So, I mean, come on. Let's just be fair. And let's just say this. Like, number one, if you look at Milwaukee last year, all right, they end up getting in as a 3 seed, I believe. All right. They had some moments where they struggled. They got some games where they got their doors blown off. So, and I'm not comparing it to them, just making a point. Like throughout a year, there's games. Now, again, we made this magnitude of this game bigger than it really essentially was. Because the last time we played them, we beat them and Joel Wade by to KD, right? So we made, we don't count that game though, right?
Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it, brother.
And they were probably actually better because they had Harden. So they were probably even better. All right, we don't count that game, but this one's the end all be all for this season, and that's where I think we're out of hand tonight.
Tom, I'll give you the perfect example, okay? Because I mean, I could easily bring up the fact that just talking about Milwaukee, because that's a good point, because you know the end game, you know how they finished off, and that's with a championship. I could easily bring up the fact that they were down 0-2 in that series. It looked like all hope was lost. I could talk about how throughout the entire playoff run, first round, second, maybe not first round because they blew out the Heat, but when they were struggling in the playoffs, all they were talking about is, this is going to be the last game of Mike Budenholzer. This is going to be the last game. This is going to be the last game. They were so ready to trade away Middleton. They were so ready to talk about how the Drew Holiday move was nothing, how Giannis signed a deal for nothing, and now he's stuck, and Mike Budenholzer is going to be fired. All of that. But I'm pretty sure, and that's why I'm just clarifying it. I'm looking this up. Game 1, second round, Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks. I'm 99% sure Milwaukee Bucks flat out laid an egg. They got embarrassed. I think also in that, weren't they also down 2-0 or 0-2 in that series? I'm 99% sure they absolutely got embarrassed and outplayed because they were trying to play the perimeter game with Giannis and all that stuff instead of just outsizing the Nets. Long story short, those are a lot of instances to where the defending NBA champions got embarrassed in extremely meaningful games, in second rounds, third rounds, finals, and saying, we can't do that. Oh, Ryan, the Bucks won because Kyrie got hurt. What? Really? Stop it, Sam. Stop. So they won the entire I'm not even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna do it. See what happens when to Tom's point and to all of our points, we just talk about a handful of games where, you just lay an egg here or there. That's why, like we were talking to Greg earlier, it's a 7-game series for a reason. We didn't even go down 1-0. It's a regular season game in March on Thursday. Ralphie, does this game have any carryovers? Like, are we like automatically like deducted a win in the playoffs? Like, do we start the series like the first
down
the series
0-1?
down? Oh,
Yeah, right. You're down 0-1. No. Like I said earlier, and you guys were talking about it. If it was just another night and you were playing, maybe like the Jazz or like any other team, I don't think you get the same reaction that you do. I just think that with all the hype that was surrounded with it, that everything came with it, and you got blown out the way that you guys did, everybody's kind of overreacting, which is fair, right? Which is fair in some points. But I just think this is not going to define who the Sixers are after one game on a Thursday night in March. You know what I mean?
I can't believe this. Like, the chat completely takes it. Okay, what about when they went down 0-2 against the Suns? Did Kyrie affect that? Because Chris Paul was out, so you can't even equate that into it. Like,
Guys, of course, there's always going to be these factors. My goodness gracious. The point is, the last 2 teams that were first in the Eastern Conference and weren't the next year won championships. Toronto Raptors, Milwaukee Bucks, and now I believe the Philadelphia 76ers. You know what's funny? This is how ridiculous people are. Guy Michael Bellamore on Facebook. And if you're just tuning in with us, make sure you hit the like, drive more people here. All right, hit the subscribe, stay with us for a while. All right, especially over on YouTube. Trying to get to 10K, help us get to 10K. Even if you don't agree with us, there's 15 more shows here that I'm sure you'll agree with somebody. All right? But Michael Bellamore calls me a clown because I say, here come the overreactions tonight. All right, I'm a clown. You've been on the Sixers talking like they were championship favorites. Go sit down.
why is he Facebook friend with you if you're?
Yeah, I don't know. But I'll say this to Michael and everybody out there. What does Vegas say? Because I'm going to go look it up right now. And I'm going to tell you that they're one of the favorites. All right? And if you don't think they still are, you're fucking clueless. This is why I can't stand people. One game, and now they're not a favorite? What do you call a favorite? I call a favorite a top 3 team in a conference. They're my favorites. They're the best chances to go. Everybody stinks now. It's just amazing. This is like truly amazing.
Ralphie, what seed were the Lakers?
Championship winners. You want to know where the Sixers are?
Can I guess?
Take a stab at it.
Are they 3?
Close.
2?
They're 2. No, they're not.
4.
4.
And I would say the teams ahead of them are probably Nets, Bucks, Suns.
No. The top 4 teams are Phoenix plus 380.
Okay.
The Warriors plus 450.
Okay.
All right. The Nets plus 500.
Okay.
The Sixers plus 650.
No Bucks, huh?
Bucks are plus 750.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, so now they're not a favorite? Right? So now they're not a favorite. Like, to this loss in Vegas, who are the smartest motherfuckers around, all right? They're not a favorite.
They have the second best odds in the East, right, Tom? What you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Sounds about right. Sounds about right to me. Ralphie, what seed were you guys? I know it was the Lamicki Trophy, in the fraudulent bubble. What were you guys? What was the seed? Sorry, I had to say that.
The number 1 seed. We were the number 1 seed.
Okay, so it doesn't even help our argument. Yeah, it was the Lamicki Trophy. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I think the Bucks are better than the Nets. I do. Now it depends if Ben plays, because I do think that would matter and help them in terms of like rebounding and some things that are important in a series like that. I hate Ben, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, I think his length can help them in a series like that for sure. I do agree with the Nets, where sort of Vegas has them and what they're thinking for sure, especially if you have Kyrie and KD playing. But if Kyrie can't play, those odds drop dramatically. So it's almost like they're almost projecting that he's going to play, right? In a way, and they're almost projecting like Ben's going to play too. That's where Vegas, to me, thinks of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, that's why I would probably have Milwaukee still as the favorite in the East. That's just me until somebody beats you, right? And I would have the Sixers too. And I'd probably have the Nets 3 because that's a lot of projecting. Make sense, guys? Like, it's not like, oh, all these guys are playing, you're good to go. Then I got him as the second one. So Vegas is almost telling you that Kyrie's going to be able to play come playoff time.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
That's what Vegas is sort of telling me, and that Ben Simmons is going to play.
Well, I think Vegas is leaning just on the factor of time to where, I believe the Game 7 of the NBA Finals would be like Father's Day. I'm pretty sure. So they're basically saying the Nets have until the middle of June for the mandate to get fixed or changed. Sorry.
Which I think it will.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, we're sitting here in March. It's gone. Again, nobody has any freaking clue, but just based off of trends, it's probably going to. So they're based off of, okay, if everybody's allowed to play and the trend continues to go and where things are opening up, okay, they're probably going to have him. And also they're going to assume since Ben's getting played to play basketball, hey, maybe he'll actually show up. I don't know. Tom, you and I talked about this on Tuesday. I don't know if he's going to play because Windhorst, who has been the poster boy and the spokesman for this entire situation from Clutch Sports all the way to the Nets, when he says himself that the information I'm being told is that I don't expect him to play in March. Well, if you're saying, what's today's date? I mean, you're on March 10th and you're already talking about numerous times on the air that I don't know if he's going to play it all in the month. You're telling me he's going to play a couple weeks in April before the playoffs. So I don't know. Maybe tonight's win, the triumphant win by the Nets, maybe that gives him a little confidence. Maybe it's a miracle when he could walk again.
Well, it's not Johnny Vegas, but it's DraftKings. So I mean, you can say they're frauds. I'm just telling you what the odds are. So I mean, I have no reason to lie to you. All right, it's not the end all be all. These odds could change, right? But I mean,
Vegas is built for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, call it what you want to call it. I'm not crowning those odds, Dan. You know what I mean, brother? Like, I'm not sitting here telling you like that's the end all be all, but I'm telling you they're pretty fucking smart. So what are they projecting to me? Well, I told you a couple things are projecting, and I'm not necessarily agreeing with them. All right, I said I would have Milwaukee 1 until somebody beats you. They're my favorite. That's my favorite. But the Sixers are right there. It's 1A, 1B to me, and then you can go up because the rest are all jumbled up in a way. Like Miami's a really good basketball team. The Celtics are coming around. The Nets, with both of them playing, are really good, right? But that, you guys understand what I'm saying? That they're all piled up. The two beasts of the East are Milwaukee and Philly. And everybody that's a real basketball person would agree on that. Why is that, Tom? Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom, why is that, Tom? Well, I'll tell you, for the first-time basketball watchers, they both have dominant big men. Fuck out of here. You're all frauds you don't believe. Frauds.
Ralphie, if anyone wants to say Vegas doesn't matter, I would ask Calvin Ridley, right? Matters to him right now. I love. This is a fitting.
What do you think?
Username all out of crack.
You think the 90 Bulls, babe, where they're losing 8 games? Like, what do you think, dude? What do you think?
I think he's all out of crack.
Mm-hmm.
Heat are not the best team. He don't have the star power to be called a best team. Star power wins. That's factual. That's the NBA. The good teams don't win it all. We're talking about champions. We're talking about the odds to be a champion. Champion. Name the star team. Name the teams that win without stars.
Ralphie, Frank, and Greg.
There's been one of recent memory.
Who?
Well, with only one star. I'm sorry. That was the Mavs back in the day with only Dirk.
Yeah.
But that's it, right? I mean, to your point, stars with the S, right? There's multiple, right? Dirk's the only guy in modern history to do it
that
solo.
Actually won it. That actually won it
solo.
Yeah.
The great Jim Gardner sent out a tweet.
Hold on, real quick before you go, Jim. Did they? Asylum? Like you're talking about the bubble run? Okay, stop. Go away.
But they lost the finals.
They lost the final. We're talking about championship odds to win it all.
The great Jim Gardner, for Philly sports fans, I think we talked about this earlier. I think John Middleton should take the sting out of tonight's horrendous Sixers game by signing Schwarber or Bryant or both as soon as the CBA is ratified.
Well, you know what I'll tell you, Greg. I heard from a good source that before all this happened, right, that they were really easy on Schwarber, okay, and then obviously we know the relationship with Bryant.
Yeah.
Right. So we already knew they were really eyeing in on Schwarbs.
Yeah.
So hey, maybe they can go get them both and really take the sting out of it, for sure.
Ralphie, I'll start with you. Tom and I did this on Tuesday, but I want to especially ask you three, and then Tom, you and I don't think we'll change our minds on this, but just in case, since everyone's Miami heated up, and again, I respect the Heat. 7-game series in the playoffs, Sixers, Miami Heat. How many games does it go? Who wins? Gun to head. Ralphie, I'll start with you.
I'm going to say 6. Sixers winning 6.
Frank?
I will go Sixers in 7, and I also have to GO out the DO. I will see you guys next week.
What the heck just happened?
Yeah,
I was going to spell out a word to say goodbye, but it's too late. So goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you, Frank.
See you, Frank. This is the dumbest thing I've ever read. Heat in 5. When did the Sixers have a bunch of stars? We had the same Jimmy Butler who had, from what I believe, 3 shot clock violations.
He's still dribbling the ball and the shot clock's going off.
Yeah.
He's still doing it.
Yep.
I Sixers in 5.
Against the Heat?
Yeah.
What the hell happened to Greg? What happened to you?
Well, because now he's bringing in common sense.
Do you hate the Heat? Is there somebody you hate on the Heat?
Jimmy?
Do you hate him more than Harden?
No, but I don't. But if you look at it, if you put the teams up against it, to Tom's point a couple minutes ago, they don't have anybody that can stop Joel. Right? Bam can't stop Joel.
I can hear the typing of the chatters. Bam! What about Bam?
His name's Bam, right? You know, he can't stop Joel. He's not. He hasn't been able to before, and he won't do it again.
Ralphie, what about Georgetown's great Omer Ertz-7?
Oh my God.
All the crack says, be honest, you guys really trust Joel in the playoffs? Yeah, I trust a guy who's growing in to the player we hoped he would be.
Yeah,
to a guy who's actually plays the most games he's played in the last 3 years, to a guy who looks to be in the best shape of his career, unless you ask Jimmy, who's on the flight zone. He thinks otherwise, but that's fine. And a guy coming into his prime. So that's why I'll believe in Joel Embiid in the playoffs. Now, listen, I could be fooled, right? He could have a bad series, and then we're out, right? Then we're out. But I'm going to stand by what I believe in and what I saw. And what I saw was the most dominant player in basketball getting teamed up with a top 10 player in basketball. And I'm not going to run on what they had the capabilities of being. And that is the ability to cut the nets down numerous times. And if you do that, then you're in the conversation with Shaq and Kobe combo. That's why the projection came up. The projection didn't come up because I believe after 2 games that they're Shaq and Kobe. But the projection came up because I believe that's what they could be. But it all starts with winning rings. It's all shits and giggles unless you cut nets down. But our job is to project. Our job is to tell you what it could look like.
Yeah, it's all about a blueprint. That's the blueprint. Yeah. It's the blueprint. Whether it lives up to the blueprint,
Nate, it's not football.
We'll see.
It's not football, Nate. So like one game isn't for me to change my opinion. That's what assholes do. Like that's what people like they just overreact to. So one game now, like, oh, I got to do a morning show tomorrow or a night show, and I'm going to say Sixers aren't good anymore, or I don't think they can beat the Nets. They just beat them.
And to the question on like, do we trust Embiid? Yeah, I mean, I understand they lost in the second round in 7, but I saw a guy who, once again, despite teammates not showing up or even doing anything in the fourth quarter, and his coach sleepwalking at the wheel, he carried this team on one leg, and he dominated. He walked into 40+ points in game 2. And I'm just talking about one game. I'm not saying one game makes me confident in the entire series, but he was playing on one leg last year and he dominated.
But even outside of that, I said this a couple weeks ago. I don't know whether it was on this show or on Sunday. This is a different Joel Embiid that you're seeing this year, right? I mean, Joel has always made strides to get better each and every year, right? But this is the first year that he has been dominant, right? That he is physically taking over games. He's always showed glimpses of it, right? He's always shown that ability to do whatever he wants to do on the floor. But this is the year that he's putting it together in a dominant fashion, right? I mean, he's the front runner for the MVP for a reason, because it's a different Joel Embiid. So yes, I do trust him because, right, I mean, last year is all fine and good, but this is a different Joel that we're seeing this year, right? I mean, this is a more dominant, a more skilled, which is crazy to say. And so it's a completely different Joel. So absolutely, I buy into him.
KZ says you say one game now, but what if they play again and Harden kicks the bucket again? But KZ, like, this is what we've been saying all night, my brother. Like, that's why we're talking about their response. Like, we're talking about the next 6 games. Like, this is where we differ. We're not going to value one game as opposed to 5. You know what I'm saying? You guys, and you're not the only one, you are valuing one game, a loss, over the 5 games that they won. Great. We are valuing the 5 games because 5 is 4 more than 1. It's a bigger sample size. So if they go on a 2-4 spell over the next 6, or 1-5, or they go on a streak, I can promise you everybody's not going to be happy. We're going to be upset. There might be even a little panic in our eyes.
Listen, we're going to go as far as Joel Embiid, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and I know it's a lot of pressure on a young kid, can take us. That's how far we're going to go. There's 5 games where we were successful. Those 3 all went off. All right? And now they laid an egg in this one. All 3 of them. Okay? I mean, that's the facts of the matter. So if you tell me it's an overreaction or not enough of a reaction because I talk about one game, like, you know what I mean? No, I'm just telling you, those 3 carried us for 5 games, and then they all had a bad night. So that's what it is. So it is one game. I don't care if the Knicks in Chicago. It's the NBA, Phillies fan. It's the goddamn NBA. It's the NBA.
Chicago was the Eastern Conference darling all of a sudden until, I guess, tonight. The Cavaliers, they were talking about, they're hungrier than the Sixers. Minnesota, when we played them, they were one of the hottest teams in the West coming out of the All-Star break. And the Knicks, they suck, but hey, you know what? They play hard. So if you want to talk about, hey, the Knicks, okay, there's 2. But they play hard. Like, it's the NBA. You can lose any given night, as you saw tonight. Like, I just love how the narrative changed. We sat back every game before and after, and we literally saw the narratives change before our very eyes. Before it was, the Sixers have an uphill climb, whether it's, the Chicago, they've got the MVP in DeRozan and the 2-headed monster with Levine. And, the Cavs, they're young and hungry. Minnesota's hot. I love how that disappears.
Yeah, I mean, it did. So, like, I'm not talking about this in next. I'm talking about 5 games as a sample size. Nate, you can tell me they shrunk in the moment. They're not the favorite. They're the favorites in Vegas to win it all. But, not the favorites, but the favorites in terms of the Eastern Conference. But they're sort of not, though. Like, they have one guy who's not going to play for a whole month now. So, I mean, they sort of aren't, though. Like, it's one game, though. We just beat them. Like, we just beat them not that long ago. So that game doesn't matter? Like, that's my question to you guys. That other game doesn't matter now that this one's the only one that matters.
No, it does matter, but this is the most recent one we have to talk about. You know what I mean? Like,
No
that
shit.
win absolutely matters, right? I mean, that was a good win. But now we made the trade, and now this is what we are. This is where we're at. So that win does absolutely matter. It was a very good win, but that was pre-trade, right? That win was pre-trade. Now this is after trade.
Saying you can be mad, Greg. You can be upset, but now you guys are concerned.
It's like the people who are mad. It's like the people who are mad. Their concern level was a 10. It's like you're allowed to be at a 6, on the concern meter. Hell, you're allowed to be at an 8. It's like everyone's either at a 2 or an 11.
Well, yeah, it's Philly. There's no in between.
I hear you.
Yeah, right. There is no in between. Either you're happy or you're fucking pissed off.
By the way, I didn't realize Baylor lost today to Oklahoma in the Big
Yes,
12.
they did. Yep.
Oh, I just saw the screen. I'm watching the Arizona State or San Diego State game right now. Holy smokes.
Taylor, we don't have to worry about it for another 2 years, brother. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. He's gonna opt in. Like it doesn't matter what happens this offseason. What happens is this season. We're not paying him $50 million right now.
I'm mad over the performance. All right. I think I made this clear earlier, but I'm not going to overreact to the performance. There's the difference. I'm going to tell you, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. But I don't not believe in this team. And Vegas tells you the same damn thing I'm telling you. So what's the problem here? Like, what is the problem? It's ugly. It's disgusting. I got no time for it. All right, I'm pissed. I came on the show pissed. I'm pissed. I got to look at the fucking bumblebee. But that's the problem. There is no middle ground with it. You can be pissed off like I am, throwing shit inside my house. My cat's looking at me like I'm an animal. And I'm like, welcome, baby. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Philly sports. We can't have nice things. We never have nice things. I smelled it. When I was walking around today talking to people, all the conversation was, man, this feels like a game 7 for no reason, right? Like this feels way too intense for a regular season basketball game. Like now I'm getting bad vibes, right? And I started getting bad vibes saying, oh my God, I got a bad feeling. But then I didn't think they were going to get rolled, but then I just had a bad feeling. I was like, oh my God, we've literally sat here and meme after meme, right? Shot after shot at a guy who's not playing. Watch, they're going to come in and beat us. Hello. So am I mad? Is it ugly? Yes. But I can't, after 5 games, tell you that I believe this team has championship aspirations and should to say, oh, they stink. They're not good enough now. Like, this was all I needed to see. This was the game. Cleveland doesn't matter. Chicago doesn't matter. They all stink. Okay.
I like sweeps.
But here's the other thing too, right? Like, let's be real. The other loss in Miami was another bad loss. Granted, James didn't play, so you know what I mean. Like, you chalked it up as a back-to-back. James didn't play, but that's 2 of your last 3 losses, or 2 of your last losses are not good looks against really good teams.
Yeah, but you said it, Craig.
You absolutely take it out because you weren't full squatted and you kind of expected an egg, but you can't throw 2 eggs against top teams in back-to-back losses. That's not a good look.
But they're not. You can't compare them because one you had the roster, the other one you didn't have the guy.
But the way you lose, you can't compare it because you got rolled in both of them again.
Not really. They really weren't. They were actually hanging around for the entire game. It got out of hand with like 5 minutes left to go. So they were hanging around.
That was you got beat. You just got beat.
Back to back. Like, you chalked that up back to back NBA on the travel, right?
Right.
But then you come back.
This is ugly. There's no denying that if next week I have more games mixed in like this, that I got a big time problem.
Sure.
Right? Like I can shift it real quick, but I'll be an asshole to shift what I believe after 1. Right? Like, that's where I'm trying to make the point to people. I would come on and why would you listen to me talk sports then? Why would you come to H2D for opinions if I come on, if I sit here after 5 and tell you how good I believe this team can be, and then after 1 I tell you, oh, seen it all. Gonna be an uphill battle now. We're not good.
I just realized this too. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Like, to me, this is going to stick with me until Sunday at 6 when you play the Magic. By the way, it sucks that like we have to wait until Sunday now.
I know,
like,
right?
We have another
3 days. Nate, you're wrong, Nate, because they were a top team without Harden, but they had Seth and Andre. They didn't have Seth and Andre in Miami. Come on.
Nate, no, Nate. No, that's wrong, Nate, because weren't you the same guy who said that this team before the trade was going to be like a 7th seed? So where did that energy go, Nate? Did you say they were like a 7th seed pre-trade?
I already wish you happy birthday, so now the gloves are off. You know,
you can't say they were a top team. They were the 7th seed according to you all season. So what are we talking about? Come on, Nate.
I don't know. I don't know what people want.
They want to be angry at something. They want to
Yeah,
panic. It's like an
thing now.
adrenaline rush.
Marcelino, we were talking about the Heat game, not this game. They were never in this game. So, I mean, you probably just misheard it. It's fine. But we weren't talking about this game. And again, we had Seth and Andre all year too. So, no, I think Nate had him around like 4 or 5. I think, honestly, from what I remember, I don't think he had 7, but he still didn't have him as great. They needed more. We all believed they needed more. Nobody out there didn't believe they needed more, and we got more. And then we win 5 games with that more, and then we lose one that's ugly and embarrassing because of the circumstances, and now we stink. That's what I'm talking to the people about tonight. That's the point. Yes, Miami game wasn't good. Of course not. But we all walked in that game saying, here's an L. And if you didn't, then again, you're lying. You're lying. I didn't walk into this game saying it's an L. I walked in this one fired up, and they let me down. They let us all down because we had an agenda tonight. We had a bone to pick. And as a team, they let their fans down who had more energy than they did tonight. That's the bottom line here. Does that mean their season's over?
He had him at least at a 5 seed, by the way. At least at a 5.
That's what I said, 4 or 5. He didn't have him 7. That's all. 7's egregious. So 4 or 5. And at that time, that's probably where they were. In reality, they needed more.
I'm going preseason. Whatever. They're not a top. They weren't. Move on. It's fine.
Well, they weren't, though. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you had them 4 or 5, I can't argue with you preseason, during the season, whatever. I can't argue with that. They've never been over. They've been the highest that they got. I think was 2 the other day or 3. Mm-hmm. So, like, I can't argue that their roster was not good enough. Like I had them as a top 3 because it's Joel, but a lot of people had them like 4 or 5 because the East had a lot of good teams in it, and we were missing a max money player. So we were never up there. We were hoping we would be. We had Joel playing out of his mind, but in reality, we knew we needed more. So I'll never argue with the people that thought that. I'll argue with the people that when we got Harden and we go and win 5 games with them, they were all talking Broad Street, and now they're out. They're the people I'm arguing with. They're the people I have a bone to pick with. There's my bones. Because if you had him as a 4 or 5 prior to the Harden trade, as soon as you get Harden, you at least have a minimum top 3. And I think everybody would agree there, even the hater Greg. So, like, I mean, at minimum, they're top 3. Even right now, if you don't have them top 3 because of this loss, that's the issue, guys. So I want everybody to tell us out there, where do you have them now? I know we talked about it earlier. There's a lot more people in the chat, obviously, that maybe weren't here earlier. And if you just got here, hit the like, hit the subscribe, stay with us. Where do you have them? Are they top 3?
Yeah, I still have them top 3 tonight. Easily top 3.
Yeah, Ralphie, and that's in no bias.
Yeah, easily top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I answered earlier. They were top 3. I have them just because of, the veterans that are on Miami. I had them kind of neck and neck, right? So I think you can flip a coin and have them 2 or 3. But yeah, I have them top 3.
There's one team I believe, again, gun to head, that I believe we would lose a 7-game series to, and that's Milwaukee. Every other team, and I'm not saying I can't see us beating them, but just gun to head, I would say probably right now the Bucks beat us in 7. That's it. So that's why I have them 2.
And I still have them. And I have them 1 now. And I have Milwaukee right there. I said Milwaukee should be the Vegas favorite because they won it all, right? And they're back. But that doesn't mean that they are. And I have Milwaukee too because of a respect thing. I just think this team's extremely talented, and they showed it. They had a terrible night. So, it is what it is.
I got you, Nate. I see what you're saying now, bro. I see.
What is saying? Tom, we must have to see more games. Got wrapped. We got a lot. That's what we're talking about, Sam. Like, this is right now. You talk to me in a week from now, and this kind of performances continue, then we have concerns, baby. Right? Then it's, hey, hold on. Hold up. But we all watched this together for 5, and we saw this, like, chemistry growing quickly. And we're like, oh, that's impressive. That shouldn't happen that fast, right? And then, boom, we lay an egg. We get smacked in the face. And now it's like, okay, people are questioning where we're at now.
Yeah,
Like if you had us as a 1, you shouldn't be like, oh well, guess what? Now they're a 4 now. Oh,
it's almost like a defense mechanism. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got embarrassed. The entire sporting world's been waiting for it, right? They've been waiting for this game. We've been waiting for this game. We get embarrassed, and it's like, okay, for us to cope with it, we're gonna fold from within. We're gonna eat each other alive. It's like, yeah, it sucks. Listen, I would have taken anything not to get embarrassed. Even if it was a heartbreaking buzzer beater, okay, at least you competed. The game was over after this, arguably second quarter. Sucks.
Yeah, and I'll say another thing. Like other teams have problems too.
Yeah.
Other teams have been embarrassed. Other teams have had bad nights. Didn't
the Bucks just lose a couple weeks ago to like a KD-less Nets team?
Yeah. Yep. They look.
And didn't the Celtics, after they beat us, didn't they like completely lay an egg against Detroit? Sorry, Don, but like Detroit.
This is what happens.
Now, it's 82 games.
This one was just bad because of the circumstances. It's bad, period. Right? The circumstances just amp it up.
Yeah. Getting blown out at home by that much is never good.
I got to be honest with you, and I meant to say this on Tuesday before, again, pre-disaster. Like, I really started getting uncomfortable, not to the point where I'm going to change my opinion of the team, but over the weekend, the Sixers, in the media grand scheme of things nationally, it kind of flipped to where we started becoming like, not the media darling, but like, oh, I'm putting the Sixers as my favorite. Like all the Scott Van Pelt shows with all the guests, all that, the morning
and
stuff.
The
like,
woes and stuff.
This might prove that they're ready. And then I start getting uncomfortable because it's like, no, like I'm not trying to compare it to the Eagles and all that stuff. But it's like, no, like I don't want to be the media darling. Please, like hate us. Continue that. Like don't pay any attention to us, please, because A, I feel like we thrive in that, and 2, like I don't want that, because also I think it's going to, maybe not this team, but I don't want us as an organization, as a team, to start smelling ourselves. Like us as a fan base these last handful of days, and maybe some of the teams, teammates, we were smelling ourselves. We were feeling ourselves a little bit, and we got embarrassed. So I say that to all the national media people, like, okay, please go on all these morning shows and say how we're done and how we're foolish for making the trade and all that stuff. Okay, great. I'm cool. And now I'm not trying to do like the underdogs run faster thing. I'm just like, I don't like it when I feel uncomfortable when the media is like actually like giving us credit for stuff. I don't like it because it feels weird to me.
Yeah.
Don't say it. It's like the old school Pistons mentality. Whatever gets us a title, Don. I don't give a damn.
I don't know really what else to tell people tonight.
I'm just like get a good night's sleep. Like it's. Listen. I wish of all times, I wish there was a back-to-back. Like I wish we play the Magic tomorrow just to get it over with, because we're gonna be sitting in this filth for all Friday, Saturday, and up until 6 on.
It's like the
Sunday.
NFL when you have a bad loss, but then you have that Thursday night game right there, and you're like, oh, fuck.
And you watch.
Because
you watch. I bet you get off to a slow start again against the Magic. You know what I'm saying? A sluggish quarter. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we give up.
Oh, man. If you guys lose to Orlando, then it's
no, we're not going to. I'm not saying
gonna
that.
Burn.
No, I'll fire.
I'm saying is if you guys lose to Orlando, that the city might definitely burn down.
Well, yeah. Then the Monday show with Tom and I, then it might get aggressive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Then there might be some things. But I'm not going to put that into the universe. I'm just saying maybe there's a sluggish start because we can't just. God forbid we have all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got to have that extra quarter of hell. You know what I'm saying? Of just six or
and where is the game in Orlando?
I don't know. Greg going to the game.
Greg.
Yes.
That's your way to watch some more games, Greg.
Get to go.
Well,
Don. Oh, sorry. I'm going to Shane.
You just outplayed him. Joel just outplayed him. So don't tell me you'll never outplay him. That's where again agendas come in, and you didn't watch. Okay, cool story. Love you, Shane. Thanks for always jumping in, but you're wrong again. Like, I mean, these people are amazing. Like, amazing. Like, never will.
You just beat him and dominate him.
Just did.
You just did.
Pre-Harden.
What are we talking about? Joe's actually better than Giannis. I don't care what anybody says.
You don't
Joe's
tell
better
me
than
on that.
All right, Giannis.
I got another wonderful take on that one.
Right before the All-Star game, Marcus said. Right, Marcus. Right before the All-Star game. Lock in, people. Lock in, Peter Pans. Okay, I mean, this is.
And that was with a depleted team, right? That was after trade when James wasn't even playing.
Greg, I said that was a Wednesday show. I said the night before on our show, I said, I expect us to get blown out. I said, I think we packed it in for the break.
You did.
We came out and beat them. It's like, I thought we were dead and buried.
I might need a mental illness week. You know what I mean? I might be calling for a Ben Simmons.
Call Clutch Sports.
I might be calling for here I come. With the buzzer, take me out of the game, guys.
Can I say this? And maybe throughout all the filth of the game, I might have missed it. So maybe I'm like congratulating the fans for no reason here. But I don't think there was anything stupid. I don't think anybody threw anything at him. Like, I know somebody was escorted out because he was yelling at him, but that's par for the course.
There was the F Ben Simmons chant though.
Good. But like there wasn't anything like thrown.
No.
Right? Okay. So like
I think the funniest thing was in warm-ups when he dunked the ball and whoever and like the fans
cheered.
that were there were cheering.
Yeah.
I think that was the funniest thing of the night.
Greg, thank you for saying that because this goes back to the whole national media thing. It just shows they don't freaking get it. I saw the Bleacher Reports, the NBA.com, like all the main like national media sites. They took that clip and they're like, oh my God, look, classy move by the Sixers fans. Classy Philly, well done. You just don't freaking get it. We were trolling them.
Yeah.
You friggin' idiots. Like, you really don't understand us, do you? Like, I get it. Like, we're savages. We're animals. Like, we've had some bad marks on our resume as a fan base, like every fan base has. But, like, stop confusing cheers for clearly trolling.
Yeah.
Like, can you stop? Like, oh, W Sixers fans, classy move. We're making fun.
Hey, at least they're
them.
talking good about us.
And this is sort of what I was saying earlier in so many words, a million, throughout the show of yelling at people. Is a loss is a loss, no matter what the score is. I mean, obviously, some are more embarrassing than others. The anticipation of this basketball game felt like it was more than it was. All right. But the sun will come up tomorrow. And like we talked about earlier, you got to hope that this actually takes this basketball team in a different direction, right? Because they talked about tonight, you heard accountability, right? We haven't heard accountability from stars here outside of Joel, right? Joel would tell you he didn't play good enough, but nobody else would ever tell you that. James Harden tonight played like shit, all right? Told you, straight up. Hey, I can't play like this. And then we talk about the lack of ball movement, the lack of just the little things tonight, more one-on-one action from everybody, from the whole team. Right, this basketball team through those 5 games was the opposite of that. They moved the ball extremely well, way better than I thought they would early on, right, of all playing together. So, right, you look at it and you say, it's the one, right? Can it wake you up? Can it take you in a direction where you want to talk about getting 1% better every day, right, per se? But look at the roster. You got a guy like Joel Embiid who's gotten better every year. So you got to know he has a work ethic to want to be great. You're watching Harden in videos like after games, running the steps, doing the extra work, talking about, hey, I didn't become the player I am today by just sitting around. I was never the best athletically. I was never the best gifted like this. I had to work to get here, right? And he's right. He's 100% right with those comments, right? Tyrese Maxey, all he does is work. So I'm going to expect a response from Tyrese and not a 2 for 7. Right? And Tobias this whole time has just been like a 50% guy. Maybe he'll give you 12. Maybe he'll give you 14. Tonight he gave you 16. Right? So he's going to be there doing what he does, right? 12 to 16 every night. Right? Can the other guys are not going to play this bad. And that's my whole point coming into this show. If you believe that Joel's going to be 5 for 14 and Harden's going to be 3 for 17 every night and Max is going to be 2 for 7 and we're going to turn the ball over 1 million times and have 14 shots blocked on us. So that's going to happen nightly? Guys, I got beachfront in Idaho. If you believe a team's going to block 14 shots a night, shoot over 60% essentially when it was meaningful, and out the game and shoot 50-something% from 3. or 48, whatever it ended up being, right? I forget what I told you guys earlier, but a lot, right? A lot.
Yeah, it was a
So,
lot.
so if you believe that's a nightly thing, okay, you don't watch basketball then. Now, if you believe a nightly thing that KD can chew you up, of course. Of course. Kyrie can chew you up, of course. That doesn't always equate to wins, though. Tonight was the effect of everything you did wasn't good enough, and everything they did was money. So does that judge it all? Does that tell you that they're that much better than you? No, that's not what that tells me. That's not what it tells me. It tells me, man, wow, they look good tonight. And boy, do we look like shit.
Yeah,
Now, do we look like shit because of them? Do we look like shit because it was a bad game? We're going to find some of these things out as this continues, obviously. But I'm going to go with that we just played our worst basketball. Like, I got to check how many turnovers we had because I did not look at that. Now I need to know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't play that bad and not give them credit, right? So it's probably going to be a combination of both, right? You know what I mean,
17, Tom? 17?
18. You want to know how many turnovers they had?
4.
11.
Okay. I went extreme.
11. But like not nearly what we had.
I bet you 9 of, or not 9 of them. I bet you 6 of them were in the garbage time with all the benches.
It could have been very well.
Yeah.
And a team again shot 45% from 3. So they're meaningful 3-point shooters. Seth 4 for 8, Kyrie 5 for 11, KD 3 for 6, right? Johnson 3 for 3, and they shot 55% from the field. But their starters 10 for 17, 5 for 9, 2 for 4, 8 for 17, 10 for 14, and then their first bench guy 6 for 7, Claxton 4 for 5. I mean, nobody missed.
Yeah, lights out for the Nets tonight.
Nobody
Like,
missed.
seriously. And Claxton was 4 for 5.
Yeah, and James Johnson was like, he was unbelievable. Ricky, see, this is where we talk about like we're looking at one game. That's all Harden has been. That's all Harden has been tonight. To Tom's point, like it wasn't even an offense. It was a bunch of different entities doing. It was a bunch of solo acts. Like they showed tonight. That's what all the doubters in the national media assumed every game would be for the Sixers. Embiid's doing his thing. Harden's doing his thing. Maxey's just a guy. Tobias is going to be who he is, and the bench stinks. That's what everyone who doubted and was afraid and wanted to take shots at the deal as soon as it happened, that's what they thought every game would be. Okay? Now you look at it to where this was like the full example of it. But it was one. Is it because the Nets were smothering on defense? Some of it. Also, we missed a ton of open shots. So, like, I don't look at like, hey, he didn't get people involved. That's all he's been. This is the first game where he's had to, put up a ton of shots in the first half. And he was cold. He was ice cold. There was more games than not where he's had 6, 7 total shots going into the fourth quarters. So he's done that plenty. We knew very early. And like, again, this is where like just analyzing meets like overreaction. Like I can look at it like we all did and say, Maxey probably looked as uncomfortable as I've seen him in the NBA tonight. But I'm not going to look at that and be like, oh, Maxey sucks. We should have traded him. No, he had a really bad night because they were smothering him. He really didn't get a chance to fully do what he needed to do, and he looked uncomfortable. And he was passing.
Yeah, they had a game plan defensively, and it was to disrupt, right? And they did that.
Smother Embiid, disrupt Maxey, and let Harden beat you. And he didn't. It was basically like let Tobias and Harden beat you. Tobias was himself, and Harden sucked.
Yeah, and I think the last time, let's see. So I'm looking through Harden's like whole year stats, right? And he has some gooses, right? Like a 7 for 25-er, right? But it's not like all time. Then the next month he's like over. I think he was a 5 for 21-er, 4 for 11, 7 for 13, 4 for 16, 8 for 17, 10 for 25, 15 for 25, 9 for 20, right? 9 for 22, 5 for 14, 5 for 12, 6 for 15, 9 for 18, 6 for 13, 7 for 22, 9 for 15, 5 for 12, 7 for 21, right? Not a good one. 13 for 24, 4 for 13, not a good one. 11 for 24, 6 to 19. Then he had 2 for 11 against Sacramento before he ended up coming here, right? Then he goes 7 for 12, 8 for 14, 8 for 13, 6 for 10, 5 for 15, not a good one against Chicago. We get the win. right? He had 14 dimes in that game, though.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and then you have a 17%. So this is his worst shooting game of the season, the 17%. But if you just hear it out, it's not great, but it's not egregious, right?
It's not a trend. It's not a trend.
It's not every night like this happens. Like, yeah, he'll have some real good games, and then he has a downer, right? The other night, Joel was 15 for 27, dude. Joel went off. He was out of his mind. That's why you won that game. Is Harden going to give you out of your mind games? That's the question.
And if anyone looks at that game and says like, "Oh, Harden struggled offensively," not you, Tom, because you said like he did it rebounds and obviously assists, but he would have been not a fool, but he would have actually been taken away from Joel Embiid's game if he was the James Harden Houston on offense. Like literally all he did. I think what was he in that game, Tom? Sorry if you still have the stats up from three. Wasn't he like 1 for 7 from three? Because that's all he was like really trying to do.
1 for 5.
Okay, so like you know what I'm saying? So it was basically get it to Embiid down low, let him dominate, because everyone else pretty much coasted. Like we said it on Tuesday. Maxey was non-existent for 3.5 quarters, and then he went off at the end to get like his 17, 18 points. So both of them really took a backseat.
Joel was out of his mind.
Yeah, so it's like when you've got a guy doing that, I'm not saying you don't need Harden, like by all means, come join the fun, but you don't.
My only concern is, all right, okay, so he had major hamstring surgery at the end of last year. And my only concern is the year coming off of that. Does he have the burst though?
I'm not necessarily worried about that. I'm more worried about because I know he was struggling from 3 early in the season and people were chalking up to like dead legs. He doesn't have the lift anymore.
Well, that's what I'm sort of saying.
I'm sorry. I got you.
Did he lose a step through this? And
well, I think that was part of his, again, now take this for what it's worth because I haven't watched it, but tonight he did look slow. Right, and I think a lot of his struggles tonight was he wasn't able to create space for himself, which is generally something that he does well. Right, so kind of to your point, again, take it for what it's worth because I haven't watched the other 5 games. But tonight in his struggles, it looked like that he was slow, especially like, a couple of the drives he had, he was getting picked from behind, which you generally don't see for a guy like James Harden.
Well, it was like they had, because somebody said it earlier, they took away all of his driving lanes, so where they really just made him a spot-up shooter tonight,
Sure.
which was it. And they had whoever was guarding him plus a big. They had Claxton running at him a lot. So where, say, for example, he was driving the lane, they pretty much just collapsed on him to where he couldn't go up for it, and then he also couldn't pass it out. And that's where he kind of just stopped and looked backward. So it was kind of like, okay, since he was so ice cold from 3, now clearly when he's more on from 3, you can't really do that. You can't do the collapse because then he's just going to pull up and kill you every time. But when he's struggling that far as from 3, all they're going to do is collapse on him to where his assists are going to go way down because you can't get any passing lanes out, especially a quick 3, and you're not going to be able to go up for anything or even get a quick foul. So they had a really good game plan for him. They did. I got to give him credit on that.
They did. I mean, other games, I feel like he's gone there strong, and he's made some good reads and stuff. I mean, he's had some games where he's going off too. So it's hard to say a guy lost it when it's still there, right? When you're still seeing 33ers and 36s, right? That tells you it's still there. I'm just chalking up that he didn't lose it forever. That it's just coming off of that hamstring injury, right? The surgery, right, and sort of like working your way back. That he's like sort of all the way back, but not all the way back. Like sure. He's running at 90% where there's going to be nights where you're like, oh, there's the burst. Because I seen it in those 5 games. There's been nights where throughout those 5 games where I'm like, he's got a little hit giddy up to him, right, Ralphie? I mean, right? So there has been that. So, but there also has been, maybe a night or two where you're like, he looks a little slow tonight. Right. And that's all. But I think as it continues and he gets back in more game shape, that you might see more consistency, more on the sides of, hey, he looks to be 95 more so than like 90, 85%.
I'll tell you where I would be concerned because it's a good question. Like, what if he has lost a step? I would be concerned if we had a team where he needed to be the it guy every time. And I'm not saying like he's going to end up being a third option. No, but you have Joel Embiid. That is your guy. That is your go-to guy. I get it.
But he's going to have to be it enough because they're going to
in the playoffs.
We know what they're going to do to Joe. Teams are going to double him. Teams are going to try to get the ball out of his hands. So
I mean, you stalled the other night in Miami, right?
But when I say that, I'm not saying that. Like I'm saying the days of him being able to go off for 40 consistently, like the Houston stuff.
Well, we might need some of that though. Like come playoff time,
you're absolutely right, Tom. You're gonna need a game. You're gonna need a vintage James Harden game in the playoffs if you expect to get to the finals, right? You know what I mean? Like or even a series, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna need some 30-plussers, some games where he goes off.
In the playoffs, you're gonna have everyone's gonna look to what Miami did the other day with Joel, and everyone's gonna look to what the Raptors have done traditionally with Joel. Right now, granted, Marc Gasol just owns real estate in his head, but they traditionally play Joel well.
Yeah,
and that's the blueprint they're going to show in the playoffs when you have more dedicated time to an individual team that you're playing. Right.
I'm not saying that he can't do it again or I don't expect it. My point is the days of him doing it game in, game out, literally every night. Of the Houston teams where you're seeing up another scoring record, up at 45, 46, 45, a bunch of volume shooting where the Harden black hole narrative got created. That I believe where he's needed to be, okay, James, I know you put up 46 last game and you put up 42 the night before. I'm going to need you to do it 3 more times. Like that I believe I don't think he can do it every single game because that's what he was doing for 3 years. Ralphie, you could attest to this because you're a West Coast team. A fan of a West Coast team. You know what I'm saying? Like he was doing this every single night in Houston because he had
I think in those 3 years, he had a weird pace. I think it was like 10 or 11 straight games. He had over 40. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
It was like, and there was 10 games.
Also, not a shot at him, but he also went to the line a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So
and we even talked about when the trade happened that like you even said, Tommy, it might be a 4-hour game from that one with how much Joel and James Harden get to the line.
And he's had those nights, right? Like he had earlier on in December, he had a night where he went to the line 20 times. He's had a ton of double-digit line nights. And when he does, right, the points equal that, right? So if you look at it, like there's nights where he only went to the line 3 times, like earlier on in the year, right? And he had 14 points, right? But then, we'll fast forward to more like recent stuff, right? We'll come into like February, okay? Let's see. He hasn't gone to the line as much, right? I mean, there was a night where he went for 15, but then there was a night he was 9 for 9 from the line. He had 33. There's a night he was 7 for 7 from the line. He had 37. So I mean, they're the point is they're in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like how much can they come out, right? His first. Sorry, I just want to give you here. His first, let's say 4 games here, he was 8 for 9, 10 for 10, 8 for 10, 11 for 12. Well, all those games, 25, 26, 29, 27. So the difference is tonight, he didn't go to the line.
Yeah.
He wasn't
getting an opportunity.
He wasn't getting any of those calls. So he went to the line twice tonight. So that's where like the down comes in, right? And then the last game out where he scored 16, he only went to the line 6 times. So his game is predicated off of like going to the line, seeing it in, right? And then that almost helping his jumper, where he didn't have that happen to him tonight.
I also think too, and this isn't to disagree with you because I do agree. You look at those games where he the performances against the Nets. There's no way of knowing, obviously, unless we go back and really look at game logs. I'm interested to see how many of those games where you saw the volume where he was playing without KD or Kyrie, where he was having Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, and Blake Griffin next to him. Because in those instances, he has to go off. If he does not go off and if he's not putting up all those shots, you know what I'm saying, or he's getting the line, they have 0 chance of winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one thing where it's like, okay, we saw, again, in very small sample sizes with the Nets, that when they did have Kyrie and KD, or even KD, he would go into that facilitator role that, Durant would go up for 37 and, James Harden would follow him up for 27 and they would win by 20.
Yeah, and
Well,
don't forget before the trade too, he was leading the league in assists too.
Yeah, so
Harden was.
Well, let's put this in the perspective too, right? In 2020, right, when he had averaged 34 a game in Houston, okay, not that long ago here, he was averaging almost 12 trips to the line a game.
That's a lot, dude.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now he goes the year he got traded. How many games did he play there? He only played 10, so I'm not going to count that, but I'm going to count the Nets, right? The Nets, the year he got traded, he was only going to the line 7, 8 this year, and he's actually going to the line in a small sample size with us more at 9. So that production is based off of him going to the stripe a bunch. Like the consistent production, like what you're talking about, right? Like that's all based on him going to the line. If he's going to the line 11, 12 times a night, he's going to have those 30-point outbursts that are so important, right? So it's really about him sort of getting it back where he can create that contact, etc.
I just want to make it very not to you guys because you understood what I was saying, but like I don't want it to come across like I don't ever expect a 40 or even a 35-point.
I know. I think we all know what you meant. I think
no. I know you guys do. It's that like. I mean, listen, you might see him go off against the Magic. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a get-right game, similar to how Joel fouled up after Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying that in a playoff series, again, assuming that Maxey shows more of what he's been, right? Or some, even if he's giving you 17 and Tobias is giving you 16, I'm not going into a 7-game series against the Bucks or whoever saying, Embiid's got to give me 40. Harden's got to give me 40. If
that's so unrealistic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's where I think some of the people in the chat need to understand. Like, if Embiid's giving you 32, okay, Harden give me 27. Give me 27 and 13 assists. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm looking for. I think we talked about it when we first got him. Like, just give me 25 or more, and I'm probably in a basketball game.
So like that in that aspect, I don't think he's quite lost a step. I still think he has that ability. I just think it's okay if we need him to, average 42 in a playoff game. Or in a playoff series, I think that ship has sailed.
Well, yeah, I think anybody averaging 42 in a series is asking for a little bit too much.
A little bit, just a little.
But we need an average over 25 in the series. We need an average over double-digit assists in the series, and at the end of the day, our best player also has to be great. So, it's a 2 to tango, and they got to feed each other. And if there's a night in the playoffs where, Joe's a little off, then Harden has to take over those games. They are must takeovers, right? So at the end of the day, he has to show glimpses of Houston in playoff series if we think we're as good as we are, right?
And also to your point, Tobias. And I'm not saying Tobias needs to go from 16 points to 30. But if Joe's off, again, his off nights are like 22, 15 and 8. But if he's off per se, okay, Tobias, I'm not expecting 16 from you. I need 22. You know what I'm saying? Like, make up.
I think it's Maxey. I mean, as much as I want to be Tobias, I hope it is. I hope he can have those types of games, but it's got to be Tyrese. Tyrese has the ability to go off for 30. So more than I believe Tobias does. You're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, Tobias is just going to give you consistency. He's going to give you like 10 shots a game now, right? And tonight he was 5 for 10. We'll take that, right? Like if all our other people are doing what they're doing, we're winning. If Tobias is 5 for 10, of course, we're not based off of Tobias being great. We got to be based off those 3, like we talked about. Now, those 3 have to come to play every night, and if one of them doesn't, 2 better, or you're in trouble. And you can say that for every team in the league almost.
Yeah, true.
That's also where though Toby's got to have a feel and pick up his production, right? You know what I mean? Like that, yes, we don't expect him to do it, but that's why he's got to be the feel guy at that point, right? He's got to understand that hey, some of these guys are down. I gotta maybe shoot 15 shots then instead of 10, right? And push that production because you're right. We don't need it from him every night because 2 all out of cracks. No, I don't think we push the envelope for Maxey because he's done it himself. We're just reacting to what he's done as a player. Now, are you going to have games like tonight where you're going to go through growing pains as a second-year player? Absolutely. Right? Are you going to have I think I talked about this, with the trade too. You're also bringing in another guy that's dominant on the ball, right? And James. So even though they played well the first 5 games together, there's still, even in a random game on a Thursday night, there's still going to be growing pains of playing next to a guy like that, right? So, and that's just what it is with a guy being in his second year. So no, I don't think we've jumped the gun on him. It's just, you're just the ebbs and flows of a second-year guy in the NBA.
I do want to add this one thing really quick, and I know people in the chat will roll their eyes because they always do when I say it. Somebody was saying earlier that like we need some of the bench guys to step up. Tom, you and I said it when we were talking on the phone, in the first quarter before the disaster really kicked in. Like, Danny Green's more important than people think. I know he sucked. I know he's been injured more than he's been healthy, but he's a big part of this bench. Because if he's not playing, you're getting Isaiah Joe or Furkan. Like, he might not give you much, but he's important.
He's just important because he's a veteran. He'll play defense, right? Like, that's it.
He's a threat. He might go 1 for 5 from 3, but he's a threat at least.
And a lot of people overrated him last year in the Hawks series when he went out with that injury.
Oh, because Furkan ended up starting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just death. It's death on arrival.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I think he's important because we're not as deep as we want to be. But he's big. I mean, it proved it last year. He helps space the floor. He's a veteran. He's won pretty much everywhere he goes for the most part. So there's something to be said about it, even though sometimes he's just out there doing cardio. But yeah, TTP has that weird impact. So I don't know how to explain it.
It's all about, and again, like we've really seen it with Niang. But Danny Green, pray to God, it again, like I said this, like I think a Danny Green game in a playoff series, I think that's gigantic because you've seen Niang. He clearly has a great chemistry with Harden. That could easily be Danny Green. It's the same deal. It's just it's not falling for him right now, and unfortunately, the one time it was falling was actually in last game when he got hurt. He was actually playing. I sent a text to 2 people watching the game. I'm like, oh, Danny actually looks really good. I think he had a couple steals. He had some assists. He was making some shots. And then he lacerates his finger. Thank you, Ricky. Says, just like you fellas doing the show, I bet you all have more chemistry compared to the very beginning. That's a good point. Good point.
All right, let's do this before we head out. Right, we're gonna give you. Hold on. We'll say 6 before we head out west. Okay, 6 games before we head out west. Magic, Nuggets, Cavs, Mavericks, Raptors, Heat. All right, Heat on a back-to-back again. That's amazing.
We're coming off. So we face them off a back-to-back.
Yeah, we play the Raptors, both at home though. So it's a home back-to-back at least. Okay. And we stay at home.
A little better.
We go to the Magic. We come home to the Nuggets. We go to the Cavs. Come home against Dallas. Home against the Raptors. Home against the Heat. Before we go out west. What's your guys' record?
4-2 for me.
Who are the 2 losses?
Nuggets and Raptors.
So you got them losing to the Raptors the first part of that back-to-back, huh?
I've got to.
I have you guys losing to the Nuggets off the back-and-back because you go.
No. You said the Raptors though too. That's the back-to-back before.
We've got 2 back-to-backs in 6 games, Ralphie.
Yes, my bad.
5-1, Ralphie. 5-1.
Yeah, I have 4-2. Nuggets and Raptors.
Who's your loss, Tom?
It's either going to be the Cavs or the Mavericks. I just haven't decided.
I'm going to go 4-2.
A Luka like 50 burger on you.
You know what I mean? We haven't seen that before.
I haven't bet since the Super Bowl. I might bet on Luka in that game.
It could be. Listen, it could very well be the Heat off the back-to-back. But I think you sort of you didn't like the way you played down there. You expect a little response this time around, right? So I'll say we beat them. We beat the Raptors. We beat the Cavs. We beat the Nuggets because I just think I think that's a monster night from Joe waiting to happen. the Nugget game. You know what I mean? I smell 45.
I
It's
can't
coming.
wait for that game.
Yeah.
I'm like equally. This is gonna sound stupid. I'm equally excited for that game as I was tonight because we were excited for tonight's game for the wrong reasons. It's because of the idiot. I'm excited because after almost 3 years, we're gonna get to see Jokic versus Embiid because we didn't see it last year.
Yeah, we didn't see it.
Um,
Listen, I mean, 4-2 is right where it should be. I'm gonna lean a little higher just because that's what I do and that's because of what I expect, right? Like if I'm expecting championship aspirations, I got to continue these types of runs.
Greg, before you go, I'll go 4-2. Loss to Luka, and I'll say because Pat Riley gets his way again, I'll say the Heat beat us coming off a back-to-back. But I'll absolutely take 4-2.
Yeah, I mean, 4-2. I think 4-2 is definitely where you need to be. 5-1 is I think the high. I don't think you go 6-0 in this next trip. There just too many back-to-backs, right? You know what I mean? Like, I want to say Denver, but it could very easily be Cleveland. And I agree. I think Dallas is going to be a tough game. Just because they showed in that last game that they were able to adjust, especially defensively against us. Now, granted, that was pre-Harden, right? So, what does that look like differently? What's a zone against Harden look like? Because obviously a guy that could shoot like that definitely is a zone buster, right? We didn't have anybody hitting shots in that second half when they went to a zone. But I could see it being Denver, but I do agree. I think they kind of blow out the Magic, so you kind of get that third quarter, that fourth quarter rest for your starters to where that's not a quote-unquote true back-to-back almost, even though there is travel involved, but you're coming home. But, yeah, 4-2.
Yeah, you might not see Joel in that game.
Against the Magic?
Yep.
Possible.
I can see it. I said it earlier in the week, and then you give him he gets a big rest over this week almost. You know what I mean? It's
definitely possible. It's got the smell like the Harden with Miami last week, right? You know what I mean? Like, hey, one of you guys is going to be down,
Yeah.
Could be James again. I don't know. TTP's got us 5-1. Listen, great show though, boys. All right, we're coming in the wee hours now. We've got it out there. We all cleared the chest. So now you just pray to God you go and you beat up on Orlando, all right, like you're supposed to, and then we really can come back and you win a Nuggets game at home. Now you're starting to say, okay, we're still beat nobody, right? Like, you know what I mean? You can start then saying like, hey, look, there's some more sample size of us being playoff teams. So, and that's what you're looking for here, right? So whatever losses you have, if you have 2 losses, fine, but there's going to be good wins in there though too, and that's what we're looking for here. Some good wins, right? Some good wins so everybody can calm down.
One last thing. Hey, Greg, you'll appreciate this. I've got a tea time in 6 hours. Exactly 6 hours.
Nice.
So I'll be getting over this loss really quick.
Nice.
Listen, we appreciate all the new people coming in because there's a lot of new folks in the chat.
Definitely new faces.
And all our old folks, we love you too. Hey, everybody, hold on. All right, buckle up. We're coming in for a landing. We're going to be
lock all windows and doors.
Lock them all. Every Wednesday, we're brought to you by BetUS, and BetUS is the leading online sports book. They've been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link right in our comment section over on YouTube. It's pinned at the top. And if you use that link, you get a 125% sign-up bonus. So go use the link. It helps us grow, gives you some walking around money, and we appreciate every one of you guys chiming in. Can't wait for Sunday just to try to get this taste out of our mouths. If you're anywhere near the Levittown, PA area, and you want to get a good taste in your mouth, head to Gleason's Bar, 6700 Mill Creek Avenue, Levittown, PA. Use promo code HUD, 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online. Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com is where you can find them. Get the Trenton, right? A little pork roll cheesesteak, right? And the
I need that in my life.
The cheesesteak by itself is delicious in this too. And our good friends over at Araya Public Adjusting, if you have any damage to your home or property, we may be able to help. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact Araya Public Adjusting, 813-564-3364. And like always, for your daily fantasy, right? We're just constantly giving out promos. Use promo code HUD at FanUp. You can download FanUp right at the Apple Store and enjoy fantasy sports. I'm sorry, they're the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. Daily NBA contests and more. Make sure you go use the promo code, get 5,000 bonus points, $50 value. That'll keep you playing over there for a long, long time. I'm still playing on mine because I've won some, right? So I'm still
yeah.
playing.
I'm playing on mine still.
Still dabbling.
NBA's tough. NBA's tough. The NFL, I got kind of in a groove as to kind of where you go with the NFL.
Yeah.
But the NBA, because you just have so many games, it's tough to find that groove, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a little tougher because all nights everybody has good nights. You know, so it's a little tougher. Boys, great show.
Oh yeah.
Tonight we said it was his birthday. No, it was his daughter's birthday. Frank was with us for a little bit. Ralph Delvecchio, Greg Mocklick, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, we love you. We appreciate you. Make sure you're following. If you're not, we're on every social media platform. And if you're over on YouTube, hit the damn like, hit the subscribe. We out. 6